And
Hey!
welcome.
Hey!
Hello. Welcome.
Okay, we're already derailing.
We're already falling apart here. Welcome to Stay
And-
on Target.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
and
And what else, Dustin?
Nothing. Whoops, I didn't mean to derail you right off the
Nothing.
bat.
No, we're good. We're in. We're live. We are
Yeah.
indoors because it's Hoth that we live, and it is
Yes.
chilly outside.
It is cold.
Current temperature. We wanted to be outside to be socially distant properly, like last week, but we didn't want to freeze completely.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
only freezing.
We didn't want the
halfway.
equipment
Yeah.
to freeze
Yeah.
completely.
We don't care about us.
So
We don't
we're
care about us.
currently in a hangar bay.
Yeah.
And it's a little cold in here. That's why Dustin's wearing a sweatshirt. Nick's wearing a shirt, and I'm wearing a
'Cause
sweatshirt.
normally he-
Before this, I wasn't.
he wasn't wearing
Normally
a
he
shirt.
doesn't ever wear shirts.
He's so ripped.
I'm so
He's
ripped.
been
Okay.
swolo.
Ben
Thanks.
Swolo.
So,
Qui-Gon Jim.
so we are glad
Obi-Wan
you have joined
Kenobi.
us. It's a show about all things,
But
mostly Star Wars things.
Mostly Star Wars and random things.
and random.
So this is if
facts.
you've never tuned in, maybe you've never tuned in.
Yeah.
This is a video podcast, basically, where we sit around and talk about all things. Like I said, mostly
Yeah.
Star Wars-y things,
Hey.
and we just happen to put a video camera in front of us.
Yeah.
We did.
So,
So you can see our ugly mugs whenever we start
Right.
talking.
yeah, and occasionally we can bring in other video clips and things to show the humans that are watching. So, yeah, okay. we're
Humans are watching this?
For the
Those
humans, 'cause it-
androids.
back. What do they call them? Sentient? What do they call them?
Sentient beings.
Is that what they call them in Star Wars? The
Yeah.
humans?
Oh, no, they just call
They
them.
call 'em-
What?
What do they call 'em?
I think
They
they're
don't.
just
They
humans.
don't call them humans. They call them.
Yeah, they don't call them
Sentient life.
I can't remember.
Sentient
exactly.
life
They call
forms.
them garbage.
Oh
If
man.
anybody's watching out there and knows the correct answer, what do they
I like
call?
we're stumped on what they call humans in Star
Because
Wars.
in the Star Wars universe, they have various species. I guess.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
do.
Obviously, an infinite amount of species.
Humanoid
Humanoid. Yeah, I think you're right. I think
mean,
that
that's what
sounds
they
right.
kind of describe
Yeah.
other races.
Yeah.
That I don't know if they ever actually say
I thought there was
human.
an actual.
Or-
yeah, I don't think they say human. I think they say something else. Fact checker.
No.
So if you're watching,
They
if you
say
can
they're
see us,
humans.
shoot us a comment. Give us a thumbs
Yeah,
up.
let us know if you're out there.
Yeah, we've
We-
got.
Are you out there?
Oh wow, there you go.
Sentient
Sentient bipedal
bipedal
mammals. So that's what we really are. If you look
Bilateral
inside.
Lateral symmetry.
Wow.
So they have their bicycles.
Bicycles. they,
Bipedals.
they call them bipedals.
Yeah.
So
Bicycles.
yes, we are representing the oops,
The
dark side over here.
Everything is.
I guess
Stage
that's- I
left.
guess that's Nick.
Yeah.
And then we got
Hi.
the light side over here with
I am the light
Obi-Wan's
side.
blue, and I'm just trying to get my head right in the middle, so
Right.
it's like splitting me down.
Dan
the
is
middle.
Kylo Ren.
Yeah, also, Dan is about
I'm the
Or
gray
Anakin.
Jedi,
Dan is
Yeah.
about half our size in this
Yeah.
video.
and it's not your eyes deceiving you. I'm literally sitting that much farther back from them.
yeah, no.
This is like
No,
a
Dan's just
40-foot
shrunk quite a
table.
Yeah, he
bit.
shrunk quite a bit. He took
I
some,
just keep getting smaller
Yeah.
every day.
yeah.
We've done some experiments and they've gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, and we cannot reverse it so far.
Honey, we shrunk Dan.
Yeah, he might be even smaller in next week's video. We don't know.
we just next week's video, Dan's just like a mile back
Right.
talking and always just
But
like
it's like
in
he's
the
like,
same.
it's like he's like right here. There's no delay whatsoever.
yeah, forced perspective. He's sitting on the table, but he looks like
Yeah,
tiny.
yeah. Wow. I mean, they would never guess because
That would be
we just
hilarious.
Tell them what our plans were.
Now they know.
Yeah.
Now you know.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay, yeah, they know.
No,
All right, I'm just adjusting some volume settings here. I think Nick was a
Digesting
little
some
quiet,
volume.
but
Am I a
no,
little quiet?
not sure. We're a little better now.
Oh, man.
be louder.
I can speak louder.
Loud noises.
So how are you folks doing out there?
Let us know, please. Let us know.
Yeah, we're excited to be here with you.
I
and
missed you.
All of you.
We're doing our best to look
Yep.
straight at the camera.
Faces
And yeah, this
that
is
we don't see.
studio number 3, I guess. Studio setup number. Well,
That was a
anymore.
new set too.
Yeah.
We're keeping
That
it
was a
fresh
new
at
set, yeah.
every
Well,
episode this
yeah.
week.
In
this
honor
month.
of what an
What a great season.
insane Star Wars week this was.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
You
yes.
know,
This is
we
good.
started off the week with May the 4th,
Yeah.
and Star Wars
Yes.
dropped a ton of stuff. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys knew that the latest episode of Clone Wars, the final episode, was going to drop that day, or did that surprise you?
I heard rumors that
yeah,
it was gonna. I thought
I
it
figured
was,
it
but
would.
I didn't know for sure. So whenever I got online and saw it, I was like,
Yeah.
yes.
You know, Star Wars, they never waste an opportunity.
Never.
Pregnant pause. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's true. It's so they started off the week with that, and we had heard rumors, but we weren't sure. So, wow, we get to watch that tonight, and we already knew. We were already excited about Rise of Skywalker coming out that day. All of us queued it up first thing in the morning
that's
before
what
work. Right?
That's what I
All
was
one
looking
of
forward
us.
to. All one of us.
So they had already announced that, and then
I needed a good laugh.
Yeah.
and then Clone Wars came. I watched
really made
comedy
my
before
day.
you watch the episode finale, the series.
Yeah.
This is the series finale.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. The
There's
series finale.
no more after this.
Man,
Shit.
and
It's
it was good.
done.
Finito.
Yeah.
Finito.
Yeah,
Finito.
it was quite amazing. So
Finite.
Yeah, without spoiling anything, it was amazing.
ah,
If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Please go watch it.
yeah.
Go
After
watch
you
the whole
watch
series.
us.
Actually, I need to do that. I need to watch the whole series.
I didn't.
We're
hear
listening
it.
to our
What?
fact checker,
Oh,
and we
Zach.
all.
Comment.
Oh, okay. We got a comment on YouTube. So
Zach, where you at?
where you at? So. Oh, we got we got
We're
all
getting
kinds
comments
We're getting
all
all
over the
place.
kinds of
We're getting
news
comments.
here. So
We need to-
here we go on YouTube. We got Zach Johnson.
Zach
Hello.
Johnson!
Hey!
Hey, what's
Hey,
up, Zach?
Yeah,
We're doing good.
Yeah, we're doing.
We're
really
doing good,
well.
man.
How are you?
How are you?
How are you?
How are you?
Well, let's all ask him at
Okay,
the same time.
Same time. 1, 2, 3.
How are you?
There we go.
Yes, he is.
Audio listeners.
For your audio
Like,
listeners
whoa.
only. Oh
Like
man.
ASMR
Hello
or
there.
whatever.
Right.
I'm not gonna talk
How
about
are you?
Oh man, this is just off the rails. But it's fun stuff.
It's
so
fun. Like
a
yeah, we're doing
train.
pretty good.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Yeah.
Did you get a
What's the-
chance to see the season
General
finales?
Kenobi.
I'm sure you did, Zach. I'm sure you
Yeah,
saw
I'm
the
sure
series
Zach-
finale.
Oh, yeah.
Over on
yeah.
Facebook, we got Carla. Hello to you all,
Hello.
faithful listeners and
Yes.
watchers
Yes.
tonight. So thank you for watching. If you're on the podcast, say something and we'll call you out too.
Yeah.
We'll call you out.
Literally. We'll
Hey,
call
thanks
you.
for listening, podcaster.
Give us your number.
You want a duel?
You want to do?
Give us your phone number.
Right.
No, what? No,
Yeah, that's
don't give
not-
us-
let's not
No,
No,
don't do that.
don't
And
do
if
that.
you are on the podcast and this is available via a podcast, give us a review. Give us a
Yeah.
comment on the podcast
Yeah.
system that you're using.
Do
if it's
it.
iTunes, tell them you love it if you
Do
love
it.
it. Tell them
If
you
you
hate it
love
if
it.
you hate it, but preferably if you
Thumbs
love
up.
it. So we're happy you're listening and we're happy you're watching along with us because we got lots of Star Warsy things to talk about
Star Warsy.
and lots of all things to
Yeah.
talk about.
Potatoes.
Potatoes.
Let me tell you
Oil
about
'em.
modern potatoes
This is just
How to grow them on Mars.
on moisture farms.
all right. So
Moisture
to start
farm
us off,
potato.
okay, we got Zach here. The latest episode was definitely a comedy.
oh wow.
Oh, I'm doing
Uh,
really pretty good. Oh, pretty good. We got some amazing Star Wars content this week.
Oh, yeah,
Completely
we did.
agree.
Glad you're doing good.
Yeah, glad you're doing good. Some serious news in the Star Wars universe also dropped. I believe it was also on May the 4th. Yeah, I think it was. It was just
Yeah.
it was just coming out.
Yeah,
We're
it
like,
was
oh my
news
goodness,
after
we got to
news.
watch Clone Wars finale tonight. Oh my goodness, we got to watch the Disney Gallery Mandalorian
yeah, that
tonight.
Was awesome too.
Oh no, we got to watch Rise of Skywalker
Yeah.
tonight. We need 8 hours tonight. You know.
I know. I didn't have enough time to watch all the Star Wars I wanted to watch.
If you had an
but
hour
I
though,
do.
you could watch Clone
Mhm.
Wars and you could watch Disney Gallery.
which I did. I watched both of those,
Yeah. Yep.
thankfully.
Those were good.
And,
and
I
then
Disney Gallery.
and I
was
played
good.
a little bit of
Battlefront 2.
no
oh the
no.
updates.
Yeah,
they did
update
updates for Fallen Order.
no,
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order. Sorry,
Yeah,
I thought you
for
said
Fallen
Fallen
Order.
Order. I
For
was like,
Flying Order.
Wait, they
Flying
had
Order.
updates for it?
yeah, they
Oh, I didn't know
updated
that.
them. Yeah. They did.
And for all you people out there, with the last couple of weeks, we've been doing this question of the day week.
Question
yeah.
of the day.
And so I think I typed in the wrong question, but we'll answer this if anybody sees it, and then we'll switch to the correct question. So, because what was the question you asked?
Oh, we can do this one.
Oh, yeah,
we'll go for it.
We've been totally
save
blindsided. We
it.
have no answers ready for this.
We just
I was so
because
unprepared.
representing the light. I think we talked about our favorite light side character. Maybe we didn't do that
Yeah.
yet. Maybe we will
No,
never
yeah.
will.
Maybe we won't. I don't know.
We said planet last week, right?
Yeah,
Our favorite
planet.
place, planet.
If you need something done, you
So,
got to plan it.
our-
Yeah.
So the question.
oh,
Oh, he should have been.
yeah.
Man, if they would, they
Yeah.
should have made him Plagueis.
Yeah, they should.
Can you imagine
my
if he
gosh.
would have been Plagueis? He played the fool the whole time,
Yeah.
and he's pulling all the strings.
Yeah.
He's pulling
It
all
would
the
have made
strings.
so much sense.
I still think, I like to think anyway, and I hope that was the plan.
I think so.
And then I think,
that would be so
think George is-
crazy.
George
But
has got
amazing.
a dark side
yeah,
of
Yeah.
humor.
and it could have worked though too, because you like, if you're growing up with Star Wars too, because it came out. The first one came out or the prequels anyway. I'm talking about
99, right?
99. So if you were pretty young, 99, and then it came out 2003 was the next one.
Two.
Or two.
And then
There were 3 years
2005.
And
apart.
2005.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you grew up with those, and Jar Jar doesn't reveal to be the bad guy, say you're like 10 or something whenever you first see it.
Yeah.
I was pretty close.
By
the time you get to Revenge of the Sith, you're old enough to understand that,
sometimes
play
your
the
heroes
villain.
as kids turn out to be the villains.
Oh, gosh, this got dark.
Wow.
Yeah, no, but that would have been so much better. He would have been the ultimate villain at that point, and it would have made Jar Jar so much cooler.
It would have.
Goodness, it would have been epic.
Well, good answer, Nick.
Yeah.
Good answer.
That's my favorite Star Wars villain.
'Cause he destroyed the prequels. No.
Yeah.
For some people. Zach commented here, Boba Fett. I hope Disney doesn't mess him up.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, there's also been some news dropping about that. But is
News.
it a misdirect?
But Boba Fett, isn't that still the highest valued
I think the toy,
toy right
Highest
now?
value.
I think
If
it's
you can find the original
Yeah,
Kenner
it's like the
Yeah.
original Kenner one, I believe.
Boba
yeah.
Fett, it's worth
you know
a lot
how,
of money.
You know how hard that is to find.
Yeah. I think it's
Very
worth like
hard.
$500,000, I think.
Yeah.
Is that how much it goes?
I
for?
think
It's in the, if,
I don't know.
sold
now.
recently
If
enough.
it's in like the original box,
Yeah.
and it's in mint condition,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
Because
because it was wasn't it like a limited
Yeah.
release? They only released so many of
I
that,
think
or
they took one
first
to a
original one or
proper
something.
auction, like a proper, high quality auction,
and
and it
if you have,
sold
like,
for
a-
like $500,000.
Yeah, and
I'd be fact checking, but I heard that recently.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's nuts. That'd be awesome. I
Good
know.
call, Zach. Boba
Yeah.
Fett was so cool.
Yeah. he was.
And he was even cooler when we played that video game in the 90s. And you got
Right.
to fight against him
Oh,
in
yeah,
Slave One.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Shadow of the Empire.
Shadow of the Empire,
yeah.
Shadow of the
I
Empire.
remember
That
playing
was-
him. It was,
That was such a good game.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was.
It was
They need
tough.
They should remaster that.
They
game.
should remaster that game.
Bring it to the modern day.
It's funny for
generation.
me because when we watched the
Modern Control,
originals,
too.
Yeah.
it was in the 90s. For us, we watched the originals in the 90s.
Mhm.
And then right around that time, we had a 64, and we were playing Shadows of the Empire. So
Yeah.
for me, they just weaved together.
They
Yeah.
did.
And you're playing against Boba Fett, and you've got
Yep.
IG-88, and you
Yep.
got all these, things from the original trilogy before the prequels came out and
Mm-hmm.
took it in a different direction.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
it's
And
kinda
90s
cool.
was kind of the resurgence of Star Wars in some ways, and it
Yeah.
built up to the 2000s with the prequels.
Yeah.
Well, the 90s was
Well,
building
the
steam
VHS
again.
release.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because they were releasing games and the
Yeah.
VHS.
Yeah.
And then also the Thrawn trilogy came out.
Thrawn.
I didn't read it then, obviously, but that really sparked a lot of interest again.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of games being released. It was kind of keeping, and there's books. There's a lot of books being released at the time that was kind of
Yeah.
keeping things building up until, again, the 2000s. But
Yeah.
90s, there wasn't any movies or anything like that. It wasn't
Right.
like official stuff, really.
Right.
It was just, but it still built. I still think it was a good time. It wasn't the greatest time for Star Wars, but I still think it was a good time for Star Wars because it was just, the hype was still building.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because it came out.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I read that, the Star Wars book, How Star Wars Changed the Universe, I think it was.
Yeah, yep.
You were talking about how that wave of Star Wars came in '77, and there was just money flying everywhere.
Yeah.
People you couldn't buy enough toys, you couldn't make enough toys, and then the sequel came out,
Empire Strikes
Empire
Back.
Strikes Back,
Mm-hmm.
just as big, and then Return of
Yeah.
and that went all the way to '83, I think was the last one.
Yep.
Yep.
And
82
then
was,
They had like,
Return of the Jedi.
from what I remember reading, is they had like a 10-year window at least where they're just were able to live off the toys and the
Yeah.
special guest appearances and the branding and all the marketing. They didn't have to do anything. They didn't put any movies out. Maybe a couple of books.
Right.
Books were being written and stuff, but they had so much money.
They had so much.
And from what I
going
understand, in
on,
the
it was
early
still-
'90s, mid '90s, they were starting to run out of that,
Yeah.
basically. And from a business standpoint, they needed to do something to relift the brand.
yeah.
Because he had created Lucasfilm, or the ILM was rolling, and they were
and they
making
were working
money.
on other stuff.
Yeah, and they were doing Indiana Jones
Yeah.
and other films, so
Mhm.
they were not making $0, but they didn't have
Yeah.
the big bucks.
At least Star Wars, the brand,
Yes.
wasn't.
Yeah, Lucasfilm was doing
capitalizing.
pretty good, but
Right.
they wanted to do something. So you're right, and then
Yeah, they made so much money. It's crazy. Yeah.
So much
Yeah,
money.
90s for us. I mean, it just made us even more hyped for Star Wars. I mean, obviously we didn't see it in '77. We weren't born.
No.
then.
Right.
But
our
growing
parents,
up in the '90s,
Yeah.
watching Star Wars
Yeah.
still, I think was just as impactful as people who watched it.
thankfully, our parents,
Let us
told
watch
us
it.
about
Yeah.
it, and we're like, watch this.
Yes.
And then after that, it was like, I don't know how many times I watched the originals.
It was
till the
I know,
tapes
it
wouldn't play, or they were
Exactly.
gargly.
Put it in and be like, well, I can't see anything, so I guess it's done with that.
Yeah, I know we've touched upon that a few times, and it's funny how like the audio would even we touched
Yeah,
upon
it'd be
that.
like,
The audio would be
Yep.
like because
Yeah.
you watched that so many times.
That whole intro,
yeah,
20th Century Fox or whatever it is, not 20th Century, just the Fox.
Yes,
the
20th Century Fox. Yeah,
Da-da-da-da.
yeah, it was like
yeah,
it was all warbly. but
Oh,
maybe fact checker can fact check when the original VHS came out before the special edition, because those are worth some coin.
The VHS.
And then I'm pretty sure
Wait,
we
the
watched
VHS.
the VHS.
Oh,
Well, when
the
was it
originals.
first available on home video?
Right.
Yeah,
Probably in mid '80s, I would think.
I'm sure
but-
80s. They
And
had,
then
well, what were they
the ones that
printed
we
on then?
watched, when did those come out? The special editions,
What were they-
or did we not watch the special
The
editions? We might-
special editions, I think
Those-
the first ones came out like
thought-
right before episode 1.
Yeah,
came
that was
out.
like 90.
Yeah.
It was like 98.
Okay,
I
so
think.
we
yeah.
might
Or
we might have
97.
watched.
Was it 97 that the special editions
something
came
like
out?
that.
Actually,
yeah.
I know that we watched the originals.
No, we
Yep.
definitely
Yeah,
did.
we didn't
I
watch
still have
the originals.
one original.
That's what we grew
I think
up on.
it's Empire
We
Strikes
grew
Back.
up on the originals. 1982.
For Star Wars.
Okay.
82?
Okay, for
Wow.
the original.
That would have been
That was
like
before
first
the third
cut.
one. Yeah.
Dang, I didn't even realize VHS were.
That was probably
Older
right around
one
when
then.
VHS was coming out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
there you go. Wow.
Laser disc.
So then there
What
you
a
go.
waste.
Oh, gosh.
But then they were probably making tons of those for years. That's what I mean. And then those sales started, dying
Yeah.
off a little bit. We got lots of comments here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Don't want to skip out on anybody. For all you podcast listeners, we hear you commenting too. You're like, this is
Yeah.
so stupid. We're shutting this off. No,
oh, you
No,
guys need to
hopefully
get to
you're
the
not.
point.
we
I
can
think
hear into your home.
we look a lot
Right.
better on the podcast.
We
you
do.
know?
We really do.
We look amazing.
We
So
look great.
if you've never seen us,
I
just
wonder
picture.
how good my voice looks.
Yeah. Just
To
picture
your
the,
ears.
the coolest $1 million Hollywood set you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Never mind the wrinkles
Right.
and the blue light.
We're in a
we
hangar.
have.
We're in a hangar.
There is a
you know.
ship on the
how
other
much is
side.
our-
Yeah, we
how much is
show you that,
our
though.
studio budget for this?
Oh,
show?
studio budget? Oh,
Yeah.
it's way up there.
That's way up there.
Yeah.
Like a $250,000 maybe.
Like a quarter.
a quarter of a quarter
Something.
mil.
Yeah, but it's pretty up there. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, here on YouTube we got Zach
we got
saying,
tons
let's
of
see what he
stuff. Oh, man, we
say.
gotta
All
catch
right,
up.
Boba Fett. In the words of George himself, Jar Jar's the key to everything.
That is true.
It's true.
Yep.
He's
I
the
wish-
ultimate villain.
I like the interviews that Stan Groom did with him.
Oh,
With
yeah.
oh yeah, that was really
That's-
good.
It's really fascinating to hear
Yeah.
him talk now that he's able to kind of come out of, that phase of 20 years where he was the most hated
Well,
human.
Yeah.
One of the
Well,
most hated.
yeah, but also it was funny though too because even George told him
Yeah.
he was like,
Just wait a generation.
yeah, he was like, wait 20 years. He's like, all those kids that
Grew up with you.
grew
Mhm.
up watching you, they will defend you basically whenever you, when they grow up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of become the case in a lot of
Right.
a lot of ways. Not everybody, obviously, but now it's funny. A lot of people now, it was fun or for some people to bash the prequels for it was the longest time everybody bashed the prequels.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, now that the sequels come out, it's kind
Right.
of like I want more of the prequels
Right.
in some ways. But yeah, it's just crazy how much of prequel love there is nowadays.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And even Disney wasn't even going to have much prequel stuff going on until fans were like, give us the prequel stuff. Like Battlefront, they didn't have anything
Yeah.
prequel. I think that was one of the
Exactly.
biggest mistakes, honestly, still, that Disney has done.
Yeah.
They wanted to basically almost ignore everything that had come before Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
They wanted to just only make money off of the new Disney Star Wars,
Yeah.
and I've heard more and more about that.
And also going off on a tangent, EA
Oh,
should
yeah.
not have the license to Star
For
Wars.
Star Wars,
Yeah.
It's I'm sorry guys, but you had a winning formula with the
Yeah.
first Battlefront 2, and then like I don't know, like 10 years later they come out with the next Battlefront.
Oh, from EA?
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
know.
Did
the-
EA do the original one?
No, I don't think EA did
I
the
don't
original
think so.
ones.
Uh,
I think
No,
it was
I
some,
think it was.
I think they partnered up after Disney took it over, and they made this huge contract.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was. And
They were
but
still making games for them
the
before,
pro-
weren't they?
The
They
problem,
just-
the problem that most people have done with Star Wars is they don't treat the canon and lore with respect.
they don't.
and they
don't
just try to
respect
make
it at all.
money off of
Yeah.
it. And the
It's a
problem
cash
is,
grab.
yeah,
Mhm, yeah.
'cause the problem is whenever you start just trying to make cash grabs with Star Wars, it's not gonna do. I mean, you're gonna make money because it's Star Wars,
Right.
but fans.
But you're not gonna make as much.
Yeah,
money.
and the thing is, fans,
Yeah.
especially Star Wars fans, are gonna let you know that it's crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that they don't like it. I
Right.
mean, that's the thing. If you
Yeah.
nail Star Wars fans will let you know that you
Yeah.
nailed it and it's awesome and people will pay and,
Yeah.
and watch it or whatever it is.
Right.
It's
So.
very true. Well, we got Zach saying some good stuff here. Good convo. Tamara Morrison has been cast.
yeah.
Tamara how do we say it? For
Yeah.
Mando
Tamara.
season 2. So either he's playing Boba or possibly Rex.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
heard. That's what I heard.
Okay.
And that's why a lot of people online were like, he's playing Boba cast as Boba Fett?
Right.
A lot of people are like, no, he might just be playing Rex because Ahsoka
Yeah.
You know, they've been talking about the Ahsoka casting.
Yep.
It's Tamura Morrison. Correct me
He's-
if I'm wrong. He's not the voice actor.
He is.
In Battlefront
Yep.
2,
Okay.
he is. Nice fact checker.
And
Yeah.
is he
But not in the Clone Wars.
not
No.
in the Clone Wars?
But he is.
But he's the
he
actor.
plays
Yeah.
Jango
actor, the
Fett.
face
Yeah.
that inspires all the clones in
Yep.
the
Yes.
animated,
Yeah.
and he was also in
Yep.
Aquaman.
He was the dad in
Aqualung.
Aquaman.
That one.
He
Yeah,
did a fantastic job.
he was really. It was one of my favorite parts.
I
And
didn't-
what? Oh, and Dora. Yeah, I
didn't
haven't
watch
seen that one
Aquaman.
I
yet.
haven't seen that one yet either.
I haven't
I-
caught up, but Kite saw that one. He said it was
Yeah.
pretty good. Actually,
Oh,
he
okay.
wanted us to watch it. But our 8-year-old loves it.
Yeah.
So no, he
I
would
didn't-
enjoyed it.
I didn't watch Aquaman, and I stand by that decision.
Oh, there you go. Aquadora.
Oh. It was
Aquadora.
actually pretty good,
Deep
honestly.
sea exploring.
I actually enjoyed it.
I am a what?
I saw it in the movie
And
theater.
Pepper.
Wait, is he the dad?
Is he the dad in Moana?
Yeah.
Oh,
He
he
is.
is. Wow.
Yes, you're
Man,
right.
he's
That
so
totally
good.
makes sense.
He's got.
I
He
like
does
that
a good
movie more
accent
now.
though, because he
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah, but he's good.
Is he
Samoan?
Samoan?
I think
Yeah.
he is Samoan.
He might be. He
or
looks Samoan.
something.
The Rock is
The
Samoan.
Rock is Samoan.
He is. Oh, he's from New
Ah.
Zealand. Oh, yeah, I
snap.
forgot about
Is
that.
that
Pulled
close
the
to
old
Samoa?
switcheroo.
That's close to Samoa, right?
I don't know.
You know who else is Samoan?
We're not even close.
We're like,
Samoa's like out there, actually.
Yeah. You know who
on
else
Hoth.
is Samoan?
What?
More Samoans.
More
More
Samoans.
Samoans. are
Also,
Samoan.
those cookies. Samoas.
That's true.
Yeah, no.
Oh man.
Tamara Morrison, he's good. He's a good actor. I'm glad that they're bringing him back because it makes sense.
Did they say that on
And
StarWars.com?
he's at the right age for it too.
Did they say that on Star Wars? I believe it, but they haven't
Yeah.
announced it on StarWars.com
I don't know
because
if
I
they
didn't
announced
see
it
it.
on
I don't-
StarWars.com.
I think he's gonna. Yeah. I
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure where they announced it.
Yeah,
from.
but I'm pretty sure he's gonna play Rex, because that's what I've heard.
I mean,
Well,
you could
if
do both.
Ahsoka's there, yeah.
Really, because
Both simultaneously.
But-
they're both technically clones. Of,
It'll be like
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Isn't that weird? Think
It'll
about
be
Boba
like
Fett
that.
is a clone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
unaltered clone.
Yeah.
And then Rex
Rex,
is a clone.
Yeah.
Of
Dude,
Clone
it's gonna
that
be like
was
that
saved
scene
by
in-
Ahsoka. And
in Spider-Man, the '90s cartoon, where they're just like pointing at.
Oh
each
yeah.
other.
They're just like they're both Spider-Man.
right. Oh my god.
From that fantastic
From
film.
that-
was
yeah.
one of the best Spider-Man films ever made.
yeah.
which one's that?
The amazing
Into the Spider-Verse?
Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah.
That is probably the
The
That
best
very
is-
ending.
Spider-Man
That
movie
is
ever made.
so good. Spider-Man
So
into
good.
the Spideyverse. So Zach said, "I like the Fallen Order." So he's commenting on the things we brought up,
Yes.
the all the things that dropped on Star Wars Day.
Yeah, they dropped
Fallen
a-
Order update. The new Cal Inquisitor skin is cool.
What?
Yeah, I did like that.
There's a new
And,
game mode?
Yeah, dude, you
plus
haven't
the
had
new
to-
Dude, I
game
haven't
mode.
played it.
It's pretty.
The
What
new
is the
game
game
mode.
mode,
Just
do
give
you
us
know?
a 5
Yeah.
second. What's
5
the
seconds.
new game mode?
So the new game mode basically, well,
and time.
there's a. Dang it!
You had 5
I
seconds.
had 5 seconds.
You had one job.
I had one job. No, they gave it so that you could. I'm
They
stumbling
gave
over
it.
right now, I'm thinking 5
What did they
seconds.
give it?
You can play the campaign again with all your skins, but you can't.
I have multiple skins.
It took away.
No, like all the accessories you get. You
Yeah,
know, you
yeah.
get all like the cool outfits and all the different stuff.
Yes.
You can play it again with that, but you can't play it with like unlocked all powers again. They weren't interested.
Oh, so it's just
So
like
it's playing the whole game again, but you just have
it's a
your,
new game
your
plus,
outfits.
but you can't keep your stats.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Because they didn't want to do that. They didn't want people to go through the game.
with all their souped up
yeah,
stuff.
because I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe they just didn't
Why
configure
not?
it that
That'd
way.
be hilarious.
I know it would be awesome. I
They're
was
like,
kind of
check
bummed.
this out.
But then the other
They'd be
game,
like, yeah, you just got to block, and you're just like,
yeah.
like, I don't have to block.
I would have
anything.
honestly liked to have played it that way more.
Yeah.
The second time with all
Yeah.
your powers, because now it's. I started playing it again. I was like, this is fun, but I've
I want
seen
my
it in point. Remember in like that vision
Oh
thing
yeah,
he
yeah,
has.
yeah.
So you get to actually play as that, and you get a red lightsaber too. It's just cool.
You can play with a red light.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
that is sick.
And then the other mode that they did though was they made it so when you go to like meditation, you can do like kind of training. There's like a training mode or like a challenge
Oh,
mode where you
okay.
got to defeat all
Yeah.
these enemies, and if you do it without getting hurt or having to or heal or anything like that, you get like certain things. And it is tough.
yeah.
I mean, it is
Hmm.
challenging for me. I had a real tough time with
Okay.
some of them.
Yeah.
And then the other one was you can make your own. So you could
Make your
set up
own-
you could set up all the bad guys you want to
Oh.
fight in one
Ooh.
arena.
Oh.
So one time I just did all the astromech droids
Oh
and
my
just cut them all up. It was kind of dumb, but it was
yeah,
fun.
that's great.
And then, but you could set up like you could fight like
Fight, like,
your master
one-
Joro Tapal.
oh really?
Yeah, you could
Oh,
fight
dude, that's
everybody.
sweet.
Yeah,
set up all Sith Inquisitors.
Yeah, you could do that.
Oh my god.
It was crazy. So it's interesting stuff.
On the hardest
I would have.
difficulty.
I liked what they came out with. It was cool, and it's going to add a lot more content. And if you really like the combat of it, I think it's really going to make people who got really good at the game want to play more and more and challenge themselves to get better.
Right.
Because I know I saw some people playing on like, what was it, Jedi Grandmaster, like perfect. They would every
don't know how they can do that.
It was insane.
I've tried it like once and
it's super challenging.
We made a video.
We made a video playing it. It wasn't as challenging as we thought, but it was.
If you
challenging.
practiced, like if I kept doing that with that mode only from the beginning,
you
like
did
my
good.
timing, my timing would get better.
You'd
at that,
also probably
you know?
throw your controller against the wall.
Oh yeah, I would. For
You'd
those
be like,
people that
"I
obviously
can't beat
spend how many hundreds of hours playing these things.
Yeah, exactly. And those are the people that really I think are benefiting from this. I would have preferred a DLC that was another world. Another map.
world.
They'll
maybe
probably
more
come
to
out with
the
that
story.
eventually, right?
I wasn't sure if they were going to come out with anything because I thought they were just going to focus on the new game because I know they're going to be coming out.
They're going to come out with a second one.
Yeah,
I know
second
that.
one.
Because it's been 6 months since it came out,
Yeah.
right?
Oh gosh, hopefully it's not soon.
Oh, I
you
hope
know
they don't
how
rush
you know
it.
how that goes.
Yeah, if they rush a game, it
Too
can be
soon.
it can be
Okay.
bad.
Ugh.
I would say give it another year.
Yeah.
Not this.
Yeah.
Don't release it this year. Release it next year.
Yeah.
Because also they got the new gaming platforms coming out. You know.
Yeah,
the
Xbox
next gen.
X.
So that might
Series
take
X.
that might take.
So it
some
might take a
time.
little while.
Yeah.
And if they play their cards right, and it would be the best game ever if they made it open world.
Oh my gosh.
Wouldn't that be
Wow.
That would-
epic? If you could
That'd
go
be
to
the
like,
best. Yeah.
I don't care if you could only go to like 2 worlds, but
Right.
you make
The
or-
whole
or-
world.
Or yeah, that would be
Yeah.
awesome if you could just
That'd be
be on
sweet.
one. You're just on the Coruscant. They map out all of Coruscant,
my
all the levels.
Could you imagine?
Wow.
Computer would just explode.
They make it.
Xbox.
They make it so it's like there's no place that's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like you literally can't find 2 places.
I think
that
Jon
are like,
Favreau at his house has that.
Yeah.
He can just fly through any Star Wars world
That-
with his virtual reality headset that he created.
Yeah. Right.
It's like, I think I want to go to this planet.
That's-
Just walk
that-
around for a while.
that'd be-
And
that-
so that
that'd
they
be an
have it,
awesome game.
you know.
I think that they would make so much money if Fallen
Oh my
Order, the
goodness.
second one, was open world
Yeah.
in like a certain area, and because the combat is similar to Assassin's Creed in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I mean, they could do it.
Well, and just make it so you don't have to be a Jedi.
Oh,
You can do anything. Kind of like
I would
Sky.
get-
I always go back to Skyrim.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
can literally just do
Yes.
anything.
If they made a Star Wars game that was basically Skyrim,
But a Star Wars.
but a
game?
Star Wars
Oh
game,
my
and you could play
goodness.
with friends,
Yes.
not like MMO. I don't want
No.
MMO. I want like
Yeah.
like, but
Blech.
you could play with like 4 people. Kind of like what's Animal Crossings?
Yeah,
Animal
right.
Cross- yeah.
The
Kind of
same
something
world,
like
yeah.
that. That'd be awesome. Anyway, we're going off on the tangent.
Yes,
Stay
we
on
are.
target.
He was on. He was talking about that, and Zach talked about. Kind of skipped over one. Personally, I hope he does end up playing Rex, so Boba can have his own movie. By the way, it was a good
Yeah.
5-second
Yes.
talk about the game.
Yeah, good
It
5
turned
seconds.
into like 5
And
minutes.
done.
Sorry about it.
No, I wanted to hear about
5
it. That's good to know.
hours.
It's fun. I enjoyed it. I like
Yeah.
it.
So
I'll
Boba,
have to
he
check
said
it out.
Rex instead of Boba, so Boba can have his own movie. So that's controversial maybe to some people, but they mentioned a Boba movie at one point,
Yeah.
obviously in 2014 when a lot of things went haywire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, what's his name? Wasn't it? Was
It
it
was
Josh Trank?
Trank yep.
Was going to do a Boba Fett movie, and then he talked about something recently.
Yeah, he did have an interview about how it was just he said it was a mess at Lucasfilm, and then he was gonna get fired. He knew he was gonna get fired because it wasn't working out. He said he liked working with Lucasfilm, but the Disney corporate is what I think that's what I read.
Yeah.
Was
some-
it?
It
I
was something
forget.
like that.
It
The
kind of
Disney-
threw shade at
Maybe
some
it was
people,
Lucasfilm
yeah.
too, but he liked the people that he was working with. I thought he was gonna get fired if he didn't quit, basically.
So he
Yeah.
just left the project.
Yeah, so he just left the
Yeah.
project. Creative differences, and they.
I mean,
were,
how many people that's happened with multiple people?
Oh,
though?
yeah.
I mean, he's not the. I mean, he was the first one at the time.
well,
yeah.
they basically then
They have-
isn't the story that they actually showed footage at one of the Star Wars celebrations?
Of the Boba Fett?
I'm pretty sure they
I
showed
thought they
some
showed
footage.
like because there was supposed to be a scene
snippet.
from Solo and Boba Fett, the Boba Fett movie, that were supposed to intersect.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
you'd see one
Right.
scene in the Solo movie from Solo's perspective,
Yeah,
and then
you'd
when
see
you're
it
watching
from Boba.
Boba Fett's, you'd
Yeah.
see it from that would have been incredible.
That would have
Yeah.
been so cool.
That would have been so cool. I would have loved that.
Yeah. It would have been.
It's
great.
like the matching. I mean, you could do that in Star Wars if
Yeah.
Jon Favreau was in charge,
Right.
but Kathleen Kennedy's in charge now. Everything's
Yeah.
We'll see.
Wait, we'll see.
But that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, if Boba had his own movie and they made it right, that would be.
I feel like that's kind of what the Mandalorian is, though.
It's kind of what the Mando
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
At this point, I feel like
Yeah.
we should just keep going with the Mandalorian
Right.
and,
If
and
they
then bring
weave-
in Boba Fett.
But if they weave Boba in,
that.
yeah, like you said,
That-
and it's amazing, and they have something that they can build on to, because this is in the future now. If Boba shows up, he's in uncharted territory, so maybe they could do something. Maybe he's just fine, you know.
Right.
Or maybe there's the Dread Pirate Roberts theme where he's
yeah.
somebody picked up the banner and ran with it, you know.
Right.
Which they
yeah.
in one of the books, that's kind of the case.
Right.
Kind
And if
of.
that's the case, that
Kind
could
of.
be a whole
Kind of.
nother world of, you know, Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. Where? Yeah, he really.
Boba.
When you think about him in the movies, though, he didn't really do too much.
Right.
Yeah, no, he had like 4 lines or something like that.
Yeah,
like
and
6
he,
lines.
like, But he's still
He just
1,000
looked
times
cool.
better than Phasma.
Yeah. Right. Oh gosh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Anyone but Phasma.
Yeah.
If Phasma had more lines, but yeah, she was way less cool.
It just
Yeah.
they ruined that character. I think they were
They did.
almost
So
trying to
much-
make her Boba Fett,
yeah.
but it just did not take
In the
nearly-
marketing, they're like, we
no.
need somebody to fill this placeholder, somebody to fill this placeholder. You know what I'm saying? And to,
Yeah.
to parallel the originals.
But she didn't even make it
and she wasn't a
the
bounty
end.
hunter. She
Right.
worked
No.
for straight up. She was
Yeah.
in charge of like
first order. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
first order
Zach
was
said,
only
I
the
feel like the
beginning."
kids. This is an interesting one. I feel like the kids that are growing up with the sequels will like them forever, just as the 2000s kids like the prequels.
Oh yeah. I'm
Yeah, I
no
mean,
doubt.
it-
It's the same.
typical when
type of
you're
situation.
introduced to Star Wars, what you're introduced to Star Wars, and that's the first thing you know of
That's-
Star
yeah.
Wars, that's going to
Yeah.
have a special place in your heart.
Right.
I just don't know if the sequels are going to have as long lasting of an effect
Right.
as the sequels and the prequels, or
Right.
the originals and the prequels, because George Lucas did those.
Yeah.
And
I
they were
think-
so cohesive, and
They made sense.
they made sense.
Yeah.
And I mean, some things in the prequels, I guess, but I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
really, if you really start to dissect Star
If you
Wars,
yeah.
some
It
things
made
don't make
s-
sense.
I think it made
but-
more sense.
Yeah, but it also opened up your imagination.
It
That's
did.
what I'm saying. The prequels and the originals, they made it so that you wanted to explore further
Yeah.
and gave you so much of an open world that you could, like, the opportunities were endless. Whereas I feel like with the sequels, what it's done is it's shrunk the universe,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really make you necessarily want to explore more of
Right.
that universe.
Well, I mean, especially
In
with
a
the
lot of
ending,
ways.
you know, it
Yeah.
just ended, and it's like, where do you go from there?
I mean, they kind of left it open-ended in some ways, but it was
But
kind of
what's
like I was
what's
so
gonna happen
disappointed.
now? There's no villain.
I
Or
know.
is
They'd
there?
have to create a new villain. I mean,
Yep.
maybe Papa Palps would come back.
Papa
who
Belps.
knows?
Go for Papa Belps.
But yeah, I mean, I could see that especially when you're introduced to it.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah,
makes sense.
it's gonna have a big impact on a lot of kids.
yeah.
You
for
know,
sure.
I mean, especially you think about. I mean, there's some diversity in the movie in the sense that girls never had like the main character to follow. They had Leia, but now you got
Yeah.
now you got
what are you talking about?
now you got
What are
a
you
now you got a
I'm just
Jedi,
joking.
whatever.
Come on,
Yeah,
And
that's
she
true.
was a Jedi, but
Until
she
the
didn't have it
prequels.
until the end. Yes.
Yeah.
And the prequels are cool because she had some feel. But I'm
But
saying,
she
like,
still kicked butt.
yeah.
even
But you know
without- and
how
she
many
did end
little
up having the
girls
Force.
idolize Rey? You know what I'm saying? A billion little girls that watch the
Right.
movies idolize Rey.
Yeah, and now are being
Well, what,
growing up thinking that they can do no wrong.
well, whatever.
Thinking that they're
whatever
just
your
gonna be
opinion
good
on,
at
you know what I'm
everything.
saying?
Yeah.
A lot of people love Finn.
It's
I mean,
true.
I love
It's true.
Finn.
I like
Yeah.
Finn. I think
But there's
Finn
a
could-
lot of African American people that never got to see that in the originals.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
Lando.
yeah.
True,
But now you
Lando.
got in. I wish they had given him a lightsaber.
I
Just
think
send him on his
They
way.
should have made
But-
him a Jedi. They should have made him
He
a
was
Jedi.
practically a Jedi. You know, so there's a lot of that. And then
So
you
many
got,
missed opportunities in the movie. It still makes
Like
me
I-
upset
like I
to this
always-
day.
Right, like I always say, we were this close to
This
greatness.
close to greatness.
so they did a lot of. There was
Thing. It just wasn't cohesive.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense together.
Well-
I think they made more sense on their own.
Yeah.
The films,
Yeah,
like even 9, you could almost take 9 and it just be its own film. Like you
Yeah.
wouldn't. You don't necessarily need
it's true.
7 or 8
No.
to know what's going on in 9 if you just only watch 9. I mean, it would help, but you
Like,
get the gist
yeah,
of
could
it,
you
which is
imagine-
is a good way of storytelling. You should it should be cohesive on its own.
Yeah.
But when you're playing with a trilogy,
Yeah.
I mean, you really need to.
you need to have
Yeah.
a through point.
Yeah,
I think, like
exactly.
it or not, you should have had George Lucas write the final
should have-
3.
Yeah, he should
Just-
have been the
He
creative.
should write the
yeah.
final 3 with
Yeah.
them, and so you can never argue
Yeah,
that George didn't have his vision played through all 9.
Exactly.
that was one of their biggest.
You know,
mistakes.
and then
Big-
and then if
biggest
everybody
blunders.
hates it, obviously
Yeah,
Disney wanted to
that's-
make tons of money. But if
Yeah.
everybody hates it, they can blame it on the creator.
Could have blamed
Right.
it on
They
George.
can't blame
If-
it on Kathleen Kennedy, the protege, who had no creative. I mean, maybe she did, but not for
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
I don't know. But then
Yeah.
then they're like finally pivoting in Mandalorian, and I don't think they realized Mandalorian was going to be as huge as it was.
No, I don't think.
Why
they
else
did.
would they release it right before The Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I think a lot of people were hyped for it though, and
Yeah.
I remember, especially after 8, I think they were trying to give. I think they were trying to give people a way to get into Star Wars again, so that people would want to go see 9. Because the issue was after Episode
That's
8,
true.
so many people were so divided that
Yeah.
The Mandalorian actually brought Star Wars fans back together before 9,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
was the smartest play.
Well, because you got to think, it's a live action, the first live action TV.
yeah,
show.
there was so
It's
much
huge,
going
yeah.
for
Star
it.
Wars,
And with the bombshell,
Yeah. and it's new.
Yeah.
It's not the Skywalker saga.
Yep, true.
Yeah.
And it fits in a time era that we haven't really explored.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that's
Mhm.
really interesting about it. I think
Yeah.
the only
I
thing
think that's
that
what brought everybody together,
yeah,
and they did it well.
yeah, exactly. The execution was so well done, and the lore was
Mhm.
respected. They also had a all-star cast of directors.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
Yeah.
that was crazy. I
How
mean,
many
we'll go
are
into
there?
that with the show that we watched.
It's like 5, 6 altogether.
Directors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was there-
yeah, 6.
I gotta count.
So on the screen it does say, "Who's your favorite Star Wars villain?" But
Oh
no,
yeah. Oh,
People are like,
man,
"Why-
I mean,
they're
I
on
said
target.
I said Jar
why
Jar.
does
Yeah.
it say that on the
I'm
screen?
good.
Like, what is this show?
Right.
This is the
We
the pod-
are your favorite Star
We're
Wars
favorite
villains.
Star Wars
Yeah.
villain.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this through every game and every show. Who was our favorite Star Wars
Yeah.
game in that show? But I don't know. You can't go wrong with Darth Vader.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean he's a classic.
he's a well-rounded.
Who would
villain.
who would you say, Dustin?
He's the pinnacle. I would say he's the pinnacle Star Wars villain
He's the ultimate villain of
pinnacle
all
of
time.
of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like nobody knows. They've never
It-
watched Star Wars,
yeah.
but they know who Darth Vader is.
Yeah, isn't
So,
that crazy?
it
It's
is
like
crazy.
when you ask that question, who's your favorite Star Wars villain? It's almost like you
Darth
almost
Vader.
have to put Vader aside,
Right.
because it's like,
It's like
that is
besides Vader.
the
Yeah.
ultimate villain. Especially when you watch him as a kid for the first time, you're like, that dude
Oh
is
my goodness, he's
terrifying.
freaky.
Right, walks
Yep.
through that.
Although,
Yeah.
I mean, the Emperor is also terrifying, but also hilarious in some ways too. How he's just like laughing about everything is so over the top, but it's so well done.
Yeah.
No.
And the Emperor's powerful,
You
but
have lost.
in every film he's always just been an old codger.
Yeah.
You know, and so you're
Don't
like,
let him kill
he's
me.
powerful, but he
I'm
wields the
weak.
lightsaber. Yeah, he wields the lightsaber in the prequels, but it's just not it's not as cool. You know,
Please
Yeah.
don't.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
They
it's just weird.
because he does all those crazy flips and spins, and
And then he's like,
blah. It was pretty crazy.
You know, so
Also, he took out 2 Jedi like it was nothing.
yeah, because they were the janitors. It was like, hey, we're gonna go arrest
No,
this
they're-
guy. Come
Kit
with us.
Fisto-
Here, take this.
yeah,
Take these lightsabers.
Kit Fisto was a good Jedi, man. He was good. He was awesome. Don't
Yeah.
you downplay.
Oh no,
Kit
yeah,
Fisto.
Kit Fisto was the only
And
good. I don't.
He
you don't
lasted
even
like
know.
he lasted like a second longer.
You
than
don't
the
even
Gills,
know
right?
the other two's names because they're not important.
I know it's true.
It's true.
But
this
they- weren't
one
they on
was throwaway Jedi number 1.
Were they on
and
the
that one's
council
number
though?
2.
Or
I
were
don't
they-
think they were.
I don't
on
think
the
they were on the
council.
council.
I can't. What does the other guy look like? Yeah.
The-
Okay.
There was also kind of thoughts on how Palpatine was able to kill those guys so fast. Was that Palpatine and Mace's fighting was on a level so much higher than everybody else's, because they said that Mace was
Yeah.
the best, like
yeah.
But I mean,
lightsaber duelist.
if you watch that scene in slow motion, that guy didn't even try to deflect that.
Well,
He's just like,
no, I know.
yeah, look
They
faster.
sped up the shot of them running.
I
Why
know.
couldn't
He
they
like
do it with
flipped through the air
lightsaber?
like dual barrel roll.
Right. He's like,
like corkscrewed
He's
at
like,
him.
whoa, torpedo.
That was pretty awesome though,
Maybe
and
they were
terrifying.
just so like,
Can you imagine that
they were
happening?
so amazed. Like,
Some old dude just
look, he's
cor-
flying. Go.
Wow.
Can you imagine? Yeah, it's like, oh, it is him.
Oh, it is him. Where'd that lightsaber come from?
It's treason there. Everyone is-
It's treason.
yeah, it's so creepy. I'd say actually, if I were to pick my ultimate favorite villain, I'd have to say Thrawn.
Yeah.
Thrawn
Yeah.
from the just turned into the gopher from Winnie the Pooh.
Hey.
I thought I heard that. I was like,
No, but
That was me. I'm
Thrawn
sorry.
from the Thrawn trilogy, I
okay.
would say is my ultimate
Wait,
favorite
what,
villain.
where's he from?
Thrawn from the Thrawn trilogy.
The book trilogy.
What's his name?
Heir to the Empire was the first one.
Veronicus Maximus.
Veronicus. Oh my
Veronicus
goodness.
Maximus. Are you not
Uh,
entertained?
Are you not?
20-year anniversary of that film.
Is it? Oh,
can get it on 4K.
Yeah.
Which one?
2000. Gladiator.
Oh,
Gladiator.
Gladiator.
You
It's
can get it
more
on
than 20
Russell-
years already?
Russell
Yeah.
Crowe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife hasn't seen that. She needs to
You
watch
can
it.
watch it in 4K now. Cha-ching.
Cha-ching.
personally, okay, Zach said, I like how the Mando was a completely new story and not a copy of any old movies. Plus, the Western theme was pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
it totally
That
was.
was the third. That was the third thing I was gonna say. It's a Western.
Yeah.
You know, it was new. It wasn't the same, or it was live action. The first live action show.
Yep.
And it was a Western theme.
And,
well, I mean,
People
and
like
how you were
Western,
able
yeah.
to watch it.
Well,
You know, Disney Plus kind
Yeah,
of used
it
Star
was-
Wars to
Yeah.
launch their thing.
Yeah,
They're like,
they
well,
did.
we use this brand. They didn't use a Marvel streaming show.
Right. Yeah.
They used Star Wars.
We're not gonna put this on Netflix. Let's just make our own.
Yeah.
which is smart. I mean,
And then
financially,
so-
They're rolling in the
genius.
dough.
It was all that, you know, I was like, well, did you get Disney Plus? Did you get Disney Plus? Like, we gotta
Yeah.
get Disney Plus. We're going to get it, you know? And
Yeah.
plus, at that point, Marvel was humongous. Like, you can watch all the Marvel films. Like, well, that's enough to get it. And then you're like, well, we can watch all the Star Wars films. Well,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool, too.
You
And we got this new Star Wars show.
Yeah, and that was really you're right. That was their push to get Disney Plus at the beginning because it's something you can only see on there.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It's unique to that one, and also even because people were so divided after Episode 8, people were still hungry for new Star Wars content.
Yeah.
And whenever you say
Oh,
it's
that-
coming from Dave Filoni
Yes.
and Jon Favreau,
Yeah.
that really hyped it up even
Yep.
more. And seeing a Mandalorian again, people love Mandalorians. Are you
Yeah.
kidding?
Right.
Especially Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
So it was really a perfect storm. in
And
a lot
it
of
was a
ways.
perfect
really
storm.
was.
And all the marketing they showed for it just got everybody more hyped. And even when we brought Nick in off the street,
Mhm.
like we said in the first episode,
It was, dude. I was like, oh, we're doing a
thing.
Okay.
And I'm like, we're just going to record the audio. And I'm like, I'll just set the
Yeah,
camera up
like,
just for the heck of
yeah,
it. Like,
dude,
I guess we're making a
yeah.
video
Here's a
show.
video.
Let's
Turned
do
out
it.
pretty good.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we loved the episode or the show. And we're like, we got to watch this forever.
Yeah.
And
That
now
was
we're
so good.
always going to be talking about it forever. So
Forever.
I think so.
it's
and if
brilliant.
they, you know, with all those directors that they have
Yeah.
working on it, make more shows.
No, yeah.
Please.
Yeah,
True, yeah.
Oh,
Diversify, yeah.
What
And
was that
put
word?
John Favreau in charge
Put-
of them.
Yeah. What was
Put
that
John
word
and
you
Dave-
said earlier? You were destined.
The
I
Destin.
was trying to
That's
say,
what that reminded me of.
was it determined or
determined?
I was
yeah.
trying to say
It was-
determined,
you
but I was
guys
like,
were destined.
destined, but I couldn't think. I was like, oh man.
Well, victory and death. That's
Oh,
that's what
man.
we do here.
Also, random thought.
Also
I
the
had.
name of the episode.
oh yeah.
Random thought I had. You know how
Please tell.
Disney, their streaming service is called Disney Plus,
Yeah.
and you know it's got all the good Disney stuff on it. Do
Sure.
you think they'll come out with a Disney minus? It's all the stuff that's like rejected.
Rejected
It's like
Disney
yes,
films.
like,
oh, this is dark.
Wow,
I,
this
I
is
understand
really
why this made it to
That's-
Disney minus.
Disney minus,
That's
and then maybe Disney divide.
No,
Yeah,
Disney
Disney multiply.
multiplied.
Disney
That's-
minus is all the all the sequels to the animated films
Yeah,
because like none of them were good.
Yeah, that
Oh,
were like
yeah.
straight to video.
Yeah.
all the B
It's like,
stuff.
oh yes, I can watch all of them.
Yeah.
I love
Wow.
these ones.
All the
Oh.
B-rated stuff on Disney minus.
Yep.
No, I don't think so. I think you should create like a playlist
Oh my
called Disney minus and add all the
Disney
garbage in there. Like this is terrible. Don't even show me that on the main Disney Plus
Oh.
home screen.
What's someone garbage is someone's what's the saying? I can't even remember.
What's someone's
One man's
what?
garbage is another man's
What's
Treasure?
dumpster.
burning garbage?
Fact checker?
Yeah.
Fact
No.
checker.
We're
One-
fact checking on
One man's junk is another man's treasure. Or something
Yeah.
like that.
One man's garbage is another man's garbage.
What? Yeah, that's it, right?
One-
They're
one
specifically talking.
No matter how you look at it.
Oh wow.
Wow,
Wow.
we've really
That-
derailed.
Our favorite
Disney
villain
minus,
is Disney-
everybody.
our favorite villain is Disney minus.
Yeah,
Done.
well, you said Vader was yours. So we finally have answered the
Vader.
question. Vader, Thrawn, and
Jar
the
Jar.
Emperor. Oh yeah, Jar Jar.
And
my,
the
my
Emperor.
current favorite is the client.
The
because the
client.
Oh man, he was
But he's
fantastic.
just-
Werner Herzog.
But
But they,
Spoiler-
maybe they don't know.
He's spoiler alert.
Everybody
gone.
saw it. Yeah, he's a gone.
he gave him like no time
He
to
gone.
react.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It
You
was-
haven't seen
that
The
was
Mandalorian.
crazy. That was
Sorry.
that was an intense point of the
Yeah, it
show.
really
I was
builds.
actually like
Does he like
he
does
was
he
such a-
stand up or
Yeah,
does he like
yeah.
he just like stands up
All
and
right. We got some news we're going to talk about.
yeah, we got to
do?
get into some stuff.
All right, there we go. We got some news to share with you. And
News.
this week, also on
News.
May the 4th.
Where's our papers at?
and we're gonna-
And tonight's news.
And
Dustin,
tonight-
Dustin is the newscaster. After
I'm
all.
making this up as I go because this paper is blank.
On today's nope, that's not the one.
No.
Nope, that's not the one either. So I think it's
What
this
is
one. I got an image here. Let's see if this is correct. Nope. Oh, golly jeepers. I had it
boy.
somewhere.
Golly
but,
jeepers.
Golly
I think
gee
it
willikers.
just, it
Pooped.
doesn't- There we go. All right. So
Look at that.
they announced a film directed
Taika.
and, well, you can read it. Academy Award winner
No,
Taika
Read it
Waititi
backwards, please.
to direct and co-write the new Star Wars feature film for theatrical release. Hey, that's something.
Yeah.
Oscar nominee Christy Wilson Cairns to co-write screenplay with Waititi.
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi.
And hey, that just gets you all excited because this website called Wars, I don't know what it was.
It's called. Wait. Go up again. Dash.
Yeah,
Dash. Dash.
It's actually
Wars.
it's Morse code.
It's Morse
Morse
code.
code Wars.
Morse code
Morse
wars.
Code Wars.
And,
That's how they spell it out.
yeah, that's insane. When I heard that news on May the 4th, I
Yeah.
was like, that might be the best news of the day.
Right.
Is
And
Taika Waititi doing the new
Taika.
movie?
What?
was Taika Waititi doing the
Yeah.
new movie? I was like, because that's looking into the future. It's taking some existing brilliance that's also tied into The Mandalorian because he worked under those guys and had some brilliant episodes.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
He is.
I mean, he brought IG-11, which was
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
best characters, too.
And they mentioned in the article Jojo Rabbit, which I saw recently,
haven't
which
seen
was
that.
Was that a good one?
insanely good movie.
Was it?
Yeah, it was unbelievably good.
I didn't really.
Did you
know.
watch it?
No, I didn't know what
Okay.
to think about it.
I think that's
'cause-
why you're so hyped for him
Yeah.
doing it.
Oh, my
too.
goodness.
I mean,
And
I've
then-
seen a lot of stuff that I do really like.
I mean,
from
we
him, but
watched Thor Ragnarok. He did that.
He
Right.
did
and
a
that
really
was-
good job.
It was different.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of funny parts, but there was also some heaviness.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think that Taika does so well.
And that's why it works with Star Wars for me.
Huh?
I
My
think-
name's Cole.
Yeah.
Kind of the leader around here.
Kind of lead around here. He's
Yeah,
so fun.
he's
He's more
hilarious.
just he's comedy, but he can get into he's sneaky comedy, but he gets into some seriously dark stuff. The only thing I didn't love about Thor Ragnarok was how he killed off the warriors so fast.
Spoilers.
Oh my goodness, it's been out.
Oh,
for a
yeah,
while.
yeah.
You mean
That-
so just yeah. That,
Yeah, it was
all of
they were
Thor's friends.
Yeah, all Thor's
Spoilers.
friends that
They're gone.
1 and 2, we'd been kind of
Yeah.
they'd been
Yeah.
there. Except for
Well,
Sif.
and
They
it
didn't
was-
kill Sif. I
It
don't know
was
where
just
she
so
was.
fast.
I know. I was like, they
shows
could have
up.
at least stood somewhat of a
Yeah.
chance. You'd think that they're some of the best warriors in Asgard.
Yeah. She shows up and just.
That's the only thing.
I
Other
was
than
like-
that, though,
yeah.
Thor
Whoa.
Ragnarok
Yeah.
was one of the funniest and best
Yep.
Yeah.
MCU films. That
I
come
like
out.
Yeah.
I like what it did with Hulk. You know. What I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
the
hilarious.
child Hulk or whatever, and then just how that spread into, not Endgame, the one before. that.
Yeah, Infinity War.
Infinity War.
right?
How
yeah.
right into Infinity War.
Yep.
And then, and the way Hulk was the way he was. If you didn't see Thor Ragnarok, like why is he kind of like the way he is?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
didn't want to come out or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's because he got his head kicked in by
In the
Thanos at
beginning,
beginning.
yeah.
But he was growing up again or whatever.
Yeah. Well, he was still acting like a kid in
That's what I
Infinity
mean.
War. It wasn't until Endgame, which was 5 years
He
later.
got super
it got-
smart.
yeah,
Dr.
things
Hulk or
changed.
whatever.
Yeah,
Smart.
but yeah.
What do you think
Oh,
about
man,
the
I
news?
forgot
I
what I
mean,
was gonna say.
what do you think about the news? I mean, that's pretty exciting.
Substantial. I
Oh,
guess
yeah.
the only thing for me about this news with Taika Waititi is because of so many directors that have come on
Yeah.
to direct this new Star Wars in some ways. Because who has initiated this one? Was this like Jon Favreau
Hopefully.
getting him to?
Hopefully,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's
I
hope it's
mean,
Favreau.
but is it Kathleen Kennedy in charge of this
Ooh.
or not? Ultimately, she still kind of is, unless there's some things going on. So I just don't. I want to know what's going on
I
behind
think-
the scenes, and I
yeah.
want to make sure this actually comes to fruition.
Yeah.
And we have no idea what this film is about. I
Yeah.
mean,
So I
Are
think
we
your
really
hes-
gonna
I
be-
think your hesitations is not Waititi.
It's not
and
Waititi.
It's not
I
a new
like
Star
his
Wars
directing.
movie. It's all the behind the
Yeah,
scenes
it's-
meddling that we don't know what's going to happen.
I guess for me, it's like,
and what's the story?
yeah, I'm not getting too excited because I don't want to get my hopes up too much whenever it possibly gets yanked.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, we've gotten so close to so many different things.
Mhm.
I mean, they announced Obi-Wan, and they took that away again. It's like,
Yeah.
come on.
Right.
The one thing that we've been wanting to see from
They're
the whole
really good at
beginning.
announcing stuff.
Yeah, they're really good at announcing stuff and not following through, or
Yeah.
following through with not very good stuff sometimes, except for The Mandalorian and
yeah.
Dave Filoni. Anything Dave Filoni's been attached to has
Mhm.
been awesome.
And it happens and it gets done and it's done well.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
as we're going to talk about
He's the real
momentarily.
protege. He is the apprentice
Yeah.
of George Lucas. Anyway,
Yeah,
sorry.
he
I'm
is.
excited about. I just want to know what the film's going to be about because I think once we know what it's about, I think we'll start to know the direction and who's kind of some of the behind the scenes stuff going on with that.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to see it get yanked because I want to see that movie. I think it's going to be absolutely hilarious and awesome.
And then Zach said, "How do you feel about Taika Waititi writing and directing the new Star Wars film?" On the comments, yeah, Taika, the director of Mando season 1 finale, convinced the film's going to be good.
Yes.
Maybe less comedy though. Well, this took a turn. I think maybe he was talking about us earlier.
Yeah, he was talking
We
about
were
us
losing
going
it.
off.
Yeah.
I like the comedy bit he did in the first Mando Gallery episode. So
That
we'll
was hilarious.
talk about that.
Yeah.
You guys want to go into that? Or
Well, I
are
haven't
we still
seen it.
news?
You haven't seen it?
You haven't seen that?
No.
You haven't seen the first one?
Wow.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, I
so,
forgot
but you
about
guys
that.
can still talk about it,
No,
or
I
I
don't
can
wanna talk about it.
Okay, well, I'll
It
leave.
is-
I'm outta here.
It is
I can
funny.
leave for a minute if you guys want to
No,
talk
that's
about
okay.
it.
This
Get
show will
out.
fall apart without you.
Yeah.
I can leave though.
I walk away and everything just goes black. I think it
Just
just
like,
just
oh,
there's-
we've lost
Things
video
just
again.
crash, the lights, everything bursts into
Right.
flames.
yeah, these stands aren't being held together very sturdily. So this
Right.
this set could come down. Remember the budget we were talking
No,
about?
hangar.
Yeah.
We're in a
Quarter of
hangar.
a million.
Or the hangar. Yes. What did I say?
I
Quarter
don't
of
know.
a million.
Quarter of a million.
Quarter of a million.
Yeah, so Taika's going to do a good job if he actually makes it to the movie, and
Yeah.
depending on what the movie's about, too.
But you look at that. That's pretty stacked. I mean, we all liked 1917.
Yeah.
That was pretty
That was a
good.
great one.
And the girl
Wait, what does that
Christy,
have to do?
she
She was
co-wrote the screenplay.
Who was?
The Christy
the
Wilson
girl-
Karen.
Oh.
Who
I was
was?
so confused
Yeah,
there for a
Taika
second.
was
Did you
in
hear me read the
1917.
article?
Don't
I
you
was like,
remember?
Taika Waititi did
Yeah.
not. He was nothing
Yeah.
to do with that.
Yeah, he was
Okay,
one of the
sorry.
soldiers.
Wow. Yep.
But
Okay.
if you watch Jojo Rabbit, oh my goodness, he wrote and I think he wrote and directed that thing.
Didn't he
Oh,
star
really?
in it, too?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's
That's
good at
insane. And then we just recently watched.
what
what
we
we
do
do
in the
in the
shadows.
shadows.
It's a
Oh my
different.
God.
It's
And I was
different.
Dude, they
It's
have a
very
show
different.
on TV now.
I know. I haven't
about
seen
it.
that
Really?
yet. I
Yeah.
need to watch that.
I haven't seen it
But-
yet.
Which
that
I
is
did
not
not
for-
know until about
not for
20
kids.
minutes in that was Jermaine Clement.
Yep,
Yeah.
it is Jermaine.
I'm like,
It's Jermaine.
Stephanie's like, yeah, I knew that right away.
Right.
And I'm like, but he looks so different.
Yeah.
And he acts, and his voice wasn't the same. I mean, it was
It
when
was,
I
but
really
yeah.
listened to it, but it was different enough that
Yeah.
I'm like, that is not him.
I can never get the faces right.
And it was
So
that,
funny.
that's
Oh my gosh.
I guess I can see
Peter,
why the brilliance of what he did there. I mean, that was
Well, that
he,
film.
and he written and directed. and
Yeah,
they're, he's going to bring Jermaine Clement in on.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Please,
On
yes,
Star
please.
Oh
Wars.
gosh.
He's
It'd be
gonna bring
hilarious.
everybody.
It's gonna be another.
yeah.
It's gonna be
he's
another
going to bring
IG
Reese
unit.
Darby, the guy that played the werewolf.
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I
He's
wanna
so
see him in
funny.
Star
I
Wars.
want to
He's
see him in Star
hilarious.
Wars.
When I
too.
saw
Oh
him
my
in the,
gosh.
because that's when I saw him. That's why I was like, wait a second.
Yep.
Was
yep.
that Jermaine Clement?
Yeah,
the
like
whole
Flight of the
stinking
Concords,
time?
right
Yeah,
there.
but
For the most part, that was
minus
like
the
Flight
other
of the
guy.
Concords almost.
Whatever happened to him? But
He does. He actually,
He's a
the other guy, he does.
music guy.
Yeah, he does a bunch of music scores for
Okay.
a bunch of different
What's his
stuff, so-
name?
And he was in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, he was.
I
As,
forget his name.
um,
Jermaine and
Brett.
Britt.
Yeah, Brit.
Yeah, Britt.
So
Flight of the Conchords.
that's
But-
deep into Taika Waititi lore there. But
Taika.
Yeah. What we do
He
in
did?
the what we do in
the
the
well, that's what got him the acclaim because that was his real
talked about
claim to
him in
fame. He hadn't
Mandalorian.
done a lot.
Yeah.
Jermaine.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
fact
Well,
checker
there you
needs a mic so that they can
Yeah.
hear what she's
Yeah, it's
saying.
gotta be.
go. Fact
They talked
checker-
about Jermaine
They
in.
talked about okay.
They did talk about Jermaine in
Yeah, they did.
Well,
in the
he's on
first episode.
He's
Okay.
on the Disney payroll. He was in Moana.
They were. He was talking about.
Jermaine was in Moana.
He was the crab.
Oh yeah, he was.
He liked
he was
my
in
song.
Rio,
You
but I,
like
don't,
my
I
song?
think Rio was DreamWorks. But
Oh,
he was
yeah.
also in something else recently that I saw, I think, on Disney Plus. I'm like, is that Jermaine Clement again? And he was another villain or something, you know.
Yeah, he was.
But
in
he's
Men in
already on the
Black.
Disney payroll, and so it's easy
Yeah.
to keep it in house.
Yeah, I think that if he brings Jermaine in, that movie's gonna
Dude
be
is gonna-
so. It's gonna be so
Yeah.
good.
Or if he brings them into the Mandalorian,
Yeah.
just as another IG.
Oh
unit.
man, that's yeah.
Wow.
They'd just be
He's
him and
bickering the whole
IG.
time. Oh
The
my
New
gosh.
Zealand IG droids.
Did you like that movie though? What We Do in the Shadows? It's definitely not for kids.
Well, I was
No,
actually
it
really tired when we watched it, and so I was in and out of falling asleep,
Yeah.
which made me
Yeah.
annoyed because I'm like, this is actually really good.
It's not.
It is.
It's
And it's
like
not-
a fan,
it's pretty
almost like a
dry.
fan film type
Yeah.
thing in a lot of ways. It's very
Yeah.
low budget. I mean, when
Yep.
they wrote it and did it, it was like super low budget. It was one of the first projects
It
they
was-
worked on, or whatever.
There was
wasn't it?
definitely some moments in
Something
it
like
that,
that.
when we were watching it together, we were both like, that's kind of, it's rated R.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yep.
there's- and it's vampires,
There's some
it's,
stuff.
vampires and werewolves, and it's
Werewolves.
not like,
Well, werewolves, not.
and they
But it-
definitely
but it's-
don't,
yeah, it's done in the
hide anything, but yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But the comedy,
they do it in the
those
style of like
moments,
The
yeah.
Office and Parks and
Yeah.
Rec. That's what makes
Exactly.
it so
Yeah.
funny in a lot
Yeah.
of ways.
It's genius. It really is. And the way they show like the humanity of the werewolves and the
Oh my
and the
gosh.
vampires, you're like, I did not expect that.
Right.
No.
And
Yeah.
just So
It's-
I can see why then they
it's
gave
so
him.
tough.
I don't know how he got bumped up to Thor Ragnarok full-time Mandalorian
Right.
or
Right.
Marvel.
Had he done anything? I thought he had done some other stuff before that, but
Nope.
no, he
No,
pretty much. Oh, he did another film in I think New Zealand that was really popular too. I forget the name of the film though,
Yeah, I
but
don't know
it
either.
was critically acclaimed. I think.
I mean, Jojo Rabbit is just like that. It's like humor
Is it
that
rated
you're like.
R?
I think so. No, I think
Okay.
it's PG-13.
Oh, really?
But you see the stuff. Maybe it's rated R, but I think it's PG-13 actually. It's PG-13. And anyway, but it's intense.
Yeah.
World War
Okay.
II.
Oh, is it?
Hitler.
Yeah, Hitler. Yeah.
He is Hitler.
So I know.
And so there's some of that question mark. You're like, I don't know if this is
Something
savory.
we should be watching.
And then you're
yeah.
watching it, and then the way it goes, though, by the end of it, it's just like, wow, it was really well thought through.
And that's how he does. That's how he does. He always does such a
Yep.
fantastic.
Same with
He treats it with respect
Yeah.
again too. He
The
treats
way
things
he's-
with
Yeah.
respect. He has comedy in it, but he can weave a very good story.
he's saying
Wow.
Taika played Hitler, which he did, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say anything more about it because you guys have to watch JoJo and
Yeah.
report back when you get a chance
Report back.
Yeah.
because it's just gold. But anyway, yeah, the way he does that and the way he ended IG8, it wasn't his
IG-11.
story. I don't think
Yeah.
he wrote that, but
Right,
he
yeah.
directed it.
He might have helped with that.
He might have. And what a brilliant ending for
What a
I
way to
that.
know.
go.
That
Droid.
the whole character arc of IG-11
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
almost just as fascinating as the Mandalorian. Because every
was,
time you
yeah.
saw IG-11, you were just like, "This is awesome."
Right. This is gonna be good.
Well,
He's so funny.
Well,
you didn't know.
You didn't trust him. We
No.
were talking earlier.
They
like,
played that
he's
so
gonna
well.
come back and he's gonna be the ultimate villain, and he's
Right,
gonna do
yeah.
this, and
Yeah, and Hunt. He's gonna want revenge
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
Mando for what he did.
Right.
And then they totally played it the way we weren't expecting, and it
Yeah.
made it even better. You
Yes.
know,
yeah, absolutely. So
I cannot wait for that movie anyway. If they actually come out with it, for
right.
the Taika Waititi movie,
Take
because he does such a good job.
He's a good director.
that was the big piece of news that came out this week in
Big
the Star Wars land. Besides all the other stuff we talked
besides
about,
all the other stuff, Boba Fett.
and I think that leads us basically. I guess you guys want to talk briefly about the Disney Gallery because unfortunately I didn't have time to see all the Disney galleries, and they had 2 episodes dropped. They dropped
Yeah.
another one Friday.
Yeah, I know. I didn't get a chance to watch the second one. I
No,
did
I
watch
just
the
watched the
first
first one.
one. I heard that it was fantastic. Our fact checker is telling us
Oh, did
that
they?
we really missed out. She's saying
so
that.
we're so not up with the times.
Right. No, we're ahead of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the same things. We're actually talking about the same things that they're talking about in Disney Gallery. We're just on the
Right.
same wavelength.
We're the same people.
We are the same.
We just change our
Yep.
faces.
Same budget.
And Dan's smaller.
Yep.
Same
And
budget. and
Dan's
I keep
tiny.
getting smaller. I don't know why I had a
Smaller.
lisp when I say smaller.
What just happened to Dan?
What just-
His voice is getting higher because he's getting smaller.
Right.
On the yellow brick road.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Wizard of Oz, everybody.
Jojo Rabbit. Wait, nope.
Jojo of Oz. Wizard of Rabbit.
Mashing movies. What were we gonna say? We were gonna talk about the galleries.
Yeah, do you guys
Yeah.
want to give a 5-second talk about Disney Gallery?
Uh,
What'd you think?
It good.
Are you?
It real
Do
good.
we know how many episodes
seconds
Disney
done.
Gallery is going to be? Or
I
that,
don't know.
that-
I thought it was it 8? Was it the amount? I think it was 8 as the Mando.
yeah, probably.
yeah, it probably is. It's probably going to be at least a half a dozen or so.
I'll try not. We're not. There's no spoilers.
Don't
There's
spoil
no-
it.
They just talk about like.
But there's good
directing the
conversation.
episodes.
Yeah, there's some fans. We're kind of new to things, but
Right.
the thing though I didn't realize though was all the directors were there. I think for every episode.
They were.
I thought or maybe not
Some of
every
them,
episode,
yeah.
but some of them, multiple ones were there helping each other out, which was so cool. And just seeing the round table was really cool. Seeing
Yeah.
them all talk to each other. And the biggest takeaway I think I had of the whole thing, and I actually stopped it when I was watching it and told my wife, I said, "Look at this." I said, "Jon Favreau can put a team together so well."
Yeah.
And look, they're all they all like they said during the whole thing, they all like different genres. They all like different things and they all have different strengths, which in a lot of ways, directors don't always work together,
Yeah.
because they have their own vision.
Right.
But Jon Favreau is the kind of man that can bring those kinds of people together to create a whole arc, a whole series, cohesive series
Yeah.
together from
Yeah.
through line and have their own unique twist, or not twist, but unique
Twist.
perspective
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
certain episodes, but it all works together.
Yeah.
Why I said Jon Favreau should be in charge
Mm-hmm.
of Lucasfilm.
I think
100% agree.
I think he would.
John Favreau
enjoy
should
that.
be the one in charge of he should have been the one in charge of the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he was in
Oh my
charge?
gosh.
I mean, he did it with a live action TV show. Can you imagine if you gave him a huge budget?
Yeah.
I mean, he's able to put people in place that need to be in
Yeah.
place, and he
Yeah.
respects Star Wars.
Yeah.
It was just that was so apparent to me. It was funny. He almost reminded me of like a mob boss, but in like
Right.
the best sense
Yeah.
for how he can bring people together and work
Yeah.
so well on one thing.
Yeah.
I was just amazed, and I'm just like, man, this is this show even. It's almost like a selling point for Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni,
Mhm.
and how they can do. They would be the best people moving forward for Star Wars. That's
Yeah.
just my opinion, but
Yeah, and he also complimented them on
yeah,
their ability to take risks
yep.
and think outside the box.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
So he
how
he
well
gave
they
them
did it.
wings to fly.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
gave them wings to fly. Yeah,
Is
and-
that a
and
direct quote of the show that I just know?
the wings of the Kira
On
decks,
the
maybe.
wings of
On
the
the wings of
Kira
the boom.
Man, that sounds.
I gotta cue
Flying
it up.
robots, they do what they will.
Yeah, they didn't really, which is smart.
Yeah.
It's a sign of a good leader too. He wasn't hyping himself up.
Right.
He's hyping up the whole entire team. I just
Right.
think he's a great leader, and it shows, especially getting a good team together. And that's what a
Yeah.
lot of people say about Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
He's able to he's a really good leader. He's able to get a really good team together to work on something, which
Yeah.
is what you need in charge. Whereas Kathleen Kennedy can't even make it through one film with everybody together.
Yeah.
That's true. That's the problem. That's starting to
Yeah. it's
glaringly
always like-
show on the track record. Is
Yeah.
like failed relationship with these amazing directors.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they get rid of him and bring somebody else. in.
Yeah. And
And-
then
And it's
I
to the
don't know.
point now that I think a lot of directors are turning
they're
down
nervous. Yeah.
because they don't want that to happen to them
Yeah.
career wise.
Right.
They're like, look, if it's gonna end up like Lord and Miller or whoever else, I don't even want to have anything to do with it. Plus, you
Yeah.
already have the pressure of
It's
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you don't want to
gotta
like
do it right.
leave them out on the island alone.
Right.
You want somebody like Dave Filoni, who was the apprentice to George Lucas, to help guide you,
Mhm.
and that's really what helped John Favreau through it.
There's so many
they were
moving
such a good team.
pieces, though. You know, that's where it's hard. And then they were establishing themselves in the Disney world. So for the first time ever, Lucasfilm had to report to somebody else.
Yeah.
So I feel like they should have waited if they were going to do a sequel. You know what I'm saying? They should have done something
They
smaller,
should've.
some one-off movies
Yeah.
first, just to get their feet wet, figure out how to make movies under the Disney
Yeah.
banner.
Mhm.
Yeah, they should have.
Because because it's not just or Lucasfilm making whatever the heck they want. That George is like, that's the final word, good or bad. You know,
Yeah.
now it's like amazing filmmaker who has to report to Lucasfilm, who eventually talks to Kathleen Kennedy or whatever the relationship is there, and they got to send all that to Disney, and Disney's like, well, we're gonna have to trim some of those bad words out of there, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that we have plenty of things that we can market in there because we got to make $1 billion on this because we just spent $4 billion to buy your
Yep.
crazy company. So there's
And
a lot of money. There's a lot of big studio
Yeah.
stuff, double studio stuff because of Disney, I think. And I'm not saying Kathleen is ever right. I think there's a lot of things she's done completely wrong.
She's done
But
good
it's
things,
that
obviously,
and
still
then
to
the
get to where
Disney
she's at.
stuff
Right.
that they have to all take into account.
Yeah.
So maybe she's feeling pressure. Maybe Lucasfilm. We don't know. That's what we got to get this guy on that we know that's semi-local here that has some inside knowledge.
Who does
He
have some
wouldn't
inside
share it
knowledge.
probably in
Yeah,
too deep.
depends
Right, yeah.
what he can share.
But we
So
may
maybe
know
we
somebody that may know somebody that has a little more inside
We could
knowledge
give
on
him
some of
a
the
voice modulator.
yeah.
just put him in the
Not
dark,
Not
in the
even have
shadow.
him. Don't even have him on screen.
What we
just
do
be
in the
off
shadows.
screen. Yeah.
put the helmet on,
Yeah.
and we can modulate it.
that would
I
be
can
pretty
I
cool.
can modulate the voice.
Yeah. I forget what I was gonna say now.
All right.
No, but I just was talking about that, and you said but Jon Favreau should own it.
Well,
I would just hate for him to get in there and then he would get chewed up and spit out like all the rest of the. I don't know, because there's so much of that corporate stuff and money and.
but he's worked with MCU. You know,
Yeah.
he's already been in the Disney ecosystem for a while now.
and
you know?
Marvel has found a way to do it with
yeah,
Kevin Feige under Disney.
that's what I'm saying. If you can take a property, Marvel, which is practically nothing before Jon Favreau.
Whoa. What are you saying? Whoa.
Well, I mean, as far as money wise
And
and
film,
and,
yeah,
you
the
know,
film track
industry,
record.
you know,
The film track record at that point was
garbage, kind of.
Yeah.
kind of
Other than Spider-Man, the Spider-Man was probably one of the best ones that
Yeah.
they'd come out with. But there was
that
no
wasn't
Iron Man. There was no,
but that wasn't
Incredible Hulk was-
Disney.
That was Sony.
It was Sony
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
because they sold it
Yeah.
all off.
I forgot about that.
And some of those are pretty good, but Sony
Yeah.
was
Yeah, but so what I'm saying though is Jon Favreau did the first starting off MCU movie.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he kicked it off with Iron Man.
Yep.
He nailed it.
And it was
It was
And
a
that's
great
what kicked
movie.
it off the whole MCU universe.
he
Right.
took the chance with
He did.
Robert Downey Jr. He did.
Yeah, so he's
Yep.
got a good eye for that. Plus, he's been in the Disney ecosystem, so he
Yeah.
knows how it all works. You know, he did Jungle Book, he did Lion King, which I didn't see. I don't know if that's any good or
I
anything.
watched
like
it.
that.
It's
I heard it was okay,
it's
but
not the
great.
best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I just think maybe his heart
compared
really
to,
wasn't.
compared to the animated one.
I think that was a
Right.
challenge. I think that was a challenge, and I think they're really kind of starting to go down the wrong path with those. I think it's already almost outlived it. And once you go into animation, but not
It's-
animation,
it's starting
and
to
there's
be,
not humans.
It's like
It's once
live
you get away
action,
from the
but not really.
humans.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point of this?
We're all
This
ama-
is just an updated animated movie. In a
it's
lot of
amazing to
ways.
see what they can do to make the animals look real, and they're more real, and they're more real. But eventually, like there's no human element at all.
That's
and
why I
it's
think
like
Jungle Book, it was grounded a little bit more because it at least had one human element. to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But like everything else was, you know.
I'm just
3D
not sure if it's going to
animation.
age well either. That's the other
Right,
thing.
yeah.
You know, CGI.
Oh yeah.
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 Fact checker
yeah,
saying.
fact checkers.
Book.
Yeah, it's the technology that he used.
He needs
you're
to give you a
right.
mic.
Because that's true. They were able to use
Modulate
some
your
of the-
voice
like-
too.
I did watch the behind the scenes on that one, and they were talking about how they were able to use the engines to create the
Engines.
world of the animals that they were putting in the scenes. You know, he's like, no, we want different lighting. No, we want to move that rock over there, and they could do that, and they could. All the people were sitting
Yeah.
in their virtual
Yeah.
sets, and they were walking through the
That's so cool.
the original sets basically that they recreated from the original Jungle Book. But
Yeah.
now in virtual reality. So
That's
I feel like
nuts.
I think there's a
This is
big
when you could
there's a
throw
big
money
thing
at
that's
it.
being
Yeah.
bridged right now with that technology.
Yeah.
And I feel like in like 10 or 15 years they're going to be able to basically map out an entire movie's sets if they have the budget virtually, and then they can do all these camera movements ahead of time and have it all set. And some of these
Yeah.
bigger budget ones where there's a lot of CG, and then they can have it all, preset, and then they just drop the actors in or actresses, and they can know what, maybe a little easier what it's supposed to look like. But I feel like
Yeah.
Favreau's at the cutting edge of that,
Mhm.
using it, in The Mandalorian,
Yeah.
as
Well,
the
in-
backdrops is crazy. And
well,
I'm
in
sure they're talking
Clone
about it in
Wars-
the gallery. Episode 2.
Yeah, we missed. We're probably talking
But
on all the
so-
points that they're talking about, but also Clone Wars. To your point, though,
Yeah.
Clone Wars. Whenever they were doing that fight scene, if you looked,
Oh,
they
yeah.
actually had live renderings of Ahsoka and Maul. They
Yeah.
weren't like polished, but when they were doing their fight scenes, their choreography with Ray Parks and the lady, I forget her name, who was
Yeah.
doing the fight
Yeah.
for Ahsoka. You could see it. You could see on the
It
screen
was
in the back.
happening live.
It was they were watching it. They could watch it live as they were doing it. And Dave Filoni was going around to the camera, like in the 3D animated
Wow.
world like type
Yeah.
situation. So they're already there with a lot of stuff. It's just so cool.
Well, and it's blurring the lines of like even the Academy where it's like what's an animated film and what's
Yeah.
not an animated film. And
Lauren Mary Kim
Lauren
was
Mary
who
Kim,
played
Ahsoka's
Ahsoka's
stunt person, yeah.
yeah, fight choreographer lady.
Wow.
Stunt double.
Well,
That was-
Zarimoto said Taika is awesome when we were talking about Taika, and
Taika is
absolutely, yeah,
He's hilarious.
he is. He hasn't missed yet. And
No.
Zach Johnson said both episodes are awesome. You're missing out, Dan. Oh, thanks.
Calling him out.
Come on.
Yeah.
I agree. I am missing out, and I'm excited to watch
It's
them.
they're so good.
Yeah, it's definitely on the.
I can't wait to watch episode 2 now. Our
Right,
fact
yeah.
checker is
to
getting me
watch.
hyped.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
And then
Jojo Rabbit.
Zach said, when
Right?
I see
Yeah.
John, I always see him as Happy Hogan from the MCU. Yeah.
So
It's like,
true.
I don't think he's ever not going to be Happy Hogan.
Yeah, no.
Like-
He's so fun.
my
It's what was the one
Is this
line
the
that they
forehead of security?
in the line that he says because he watched Downton Abbey, he's like he likes it. He thinks it's elegant or something like one of the it's so funny when he gets injured or hurt. Hogan. I think it's in the third movie. It's something. It was so funny though. I don't know why. I laughed
And then
at
he's
that.
talked about Zach Disney can't come up with new stories. That's why they keep remaking old animated.
Yeah,
films.
it's true.
That's what I said. It's
in
almost like the
so
new
many
version of
ways.
like the sequel, the garbage sequels that are Disney
Yeah.
minus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Disney
This
minus.
is kind of what they're doing now. They're like, well, instead of making sequels, let's just redo.
Let's just rehash.
and then use the sweet new technology and sell
Yeah.
it in 4K, and they can throw it in the movies, and it's amazing to watch. And they have every time they do it, they make $1
It
billion.
looks
So
great.
they're
Yeah,
making
it makes money, but
tons of money.
Right.
And then they'll drop
But
them on Disney Plus, and everybody watches them there.
it's always playing on nostalgia though too. Like
Yeah.
you're saying.
And I like Zach's next comment because it's so true. He directed Alf, by the way.
Yes.
It's
Was
true,
that,
man.
Was that his first
Elf.
movie?
No, he
No,
did some
I
in the
think it was one of
90s.
the ones.
Okay,
He did a little more like adult ones, kind of in the 90s,
In the 90s.
like PG-13, like regular movies.
Yeah.
But
I'd have to look it up.
But good old
yeah,
Favy. But he did Elf.
He did Elf.
That's why it's
fantastic.
it's a modern classic already.
It really
Yeah,
is.
You know.
Elf, and so is Iron Man.
Yeah, that was a big one. Yeah.
Yeah,
he was in that movie.
But
too.
yeah, I mean, I think with Jungle Book, I think it, or not Jungle Book, Lion King. I think part of the reason that one probably didn't land as well was it was super tough to pull off with no humans.
Yeah.
You know, all animation and getting all the voice actors. That was a daunting task. Plus, I think he was already working on The Mandalorian, and I think honestly he was not nearly as excited about. I think it was just because Jungle Book did so well that they were like, "Oh, you have to do The Lion King now."
Right.
Yeah, and he's like,
And he's like,
I'm working on a ton of other stuff.
Okay, I guess
Yeah.
I'll make another $1 billion. Why not?
Yeah,
He's like, all right, cool. Well, then you're going to give me my fully digital backdrop on The Mandalorian.
Yeah, and he
make
created
it happen. And they're like, all right.
And he
fine.
created
They're like,
that
yeah, okay.
technology, right? His company, right? He's the one for The Mandalorian.
Fabs.
Or yeah, because
Oh yeah.
He probably made enough money on The Lion King to be able to fund, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. But I think he was working on The Mandalorian whenever he was doing The Lion King. Is what I'm saying. So I think his passion was probably going more towards Star Wars than it was, and that's why I think when you really see his passions projects show, like Elf, which is a classic,
Yeah.
Iron Man, you know, and then he did oh man, what was the other one? Did he do what was that movie? The Run. Oh shoot, I forget. It was a football movie. I forget what it was. It was good. But
The Replacements?
The Replacements.
The
Did he do The Replacements? Because that was a good movie too. Not for kids again. Not. Oh,
Could
okay.
have.
Directing. I thought maybe he was in it. He was also in that movie, so that's why I
Yeah.
thought. But I mean, he's done so many good classic movies
Yep.
that have, again, like George Lucas in a lot of ways, pushed the envelope with technology in some ways. Not Elf and all that stuff, but
Right. Yeah.
but he's just
Well,
he knows how
kinda.
to make such a
There was a good
classic.
there was
CG
Yeah, it was good,
Santa
like,
Claus sleigh.
Oh, and he had the stop motion.
Yeah, stop motion stuff.
Stop motion. Yeah. But yeah, so it just it seems like whenever he's passionate about something is whenever he
Oh,
does
yeah.
his best work.
really
I mean, that's all. That's
shines.
everybody. But
I do my worst work when I'm passionate.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, no, I'm just kidding.
I love doing this.
Mm.
This
No.
doesn't look great, but I love
John
it.
Favreau should be in charge with Dave
John
Filoni. I think
Favreau
it should be a
should be.
It should be a team. Dave
Yeah.
Filoni and John Favreau.
I
because
agree.
they're the perfect combo. So many
The
different ways.
killer combo.
And I loved whenever Dave talked about it in the Dave was talking in the episode
Yeah.
galleries, because he was talking about how you learn so much filmmaking because he'd only done animation.
Yeah.
So it shows in the last 4 episodes of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Because I still stand by that. That's all new, and he took everything he learned from doing The Mandalorian and directing live action and put that into the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars. I mean, it's on a whole nother level.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Good segue.
Good segue.
Clone Wars.
Zach did say before we jump into clones, Disney thinks good CGI is good storytelling.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Ooh,
a
sick
slam
burn.
And I'm
dunk.
gonna add on to that. It goes the same for video games.
Yeah.
Just because
Oh,
it's got
yeah.
good graphics doesn't mean it's a good video
That's
game.
Battlefront 1 and 2. They made it look amazing.
But it's
but
not a good game.
They're not super great. I mean,
at all.
they've gotten better because they've
Yeah.
patched so many things later and given what people wanted, but
But it
still the core of it isn't the same.
It
as what
should have
used to
been
be.
that way to begin with.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
They released it too soon. It's too soon. Cash grab.
Too soon.
Too soon. Cash grabs makes it not very good.
Yeah.
Dis-
Cash grab
Disney sequel trilogy,
Bad story.
not nearly as good.
Yeah.
Cash grab. They were
Cash
just
grab.
trying to make back all the money right away.
Cash grab or cash crab? That's Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. He's a
Call
cash
me
crab.
Mr. Krabs.
Call me Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Glass.
Senor
is what it is.
Krabs.
Senor Clap.
All right, so the
That's
main
crab in
topic for
Spanish.
today is a little thing
Oh.
after all that amazing Star Wars goodness
Yeah.
called the Clone Wars Episode 12.
Yeah.
And I don't have the title right in front of me,
Victory.
but holy smokes.
Victory and
Screech.
death.
Victory and Death.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh.
And what
Yeah.
a series finale it really was.
It was.
So if you, we're just going to go right into spoilers because we've been talking a long time. So if you haven't
Yeah.
seen the episode, see you later.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
wow. Come back.
Dustin is the
Oh,
he's the spoiler alert.
Come back and watch the rest
No,
of this
you
after
can
you've seen
Come
the
back
episode.
again, you hear?
Yeah, you can watch it if you have no reference because you've never seen
Yeah.
any Clone Wars ever.
What are you doing if
But
that's the
why would you
case?
do that? They're like,
Watch all of the Clone
maybe they
Wars.
just really
Watch
think we're funny, you
all
know?
of
So
it.
I'm not going to shame
Yeah,
anybody
we're
for thinking
funny.
we're funny.
Funny
Wow.
looking.
Funny
I
looking.
mean, you're like 10 inches
Way
tall. bro.
smaller.
10
I'm
inches.
properly social. See, I can't touch anybody.
Yeah, because your arms are miniature.
Oh no!
Hopefully after this week we won't have to do this kind of thing,
Yeah.
and maybe we'll be
Yeah.
outside. I was gonna check the weather, but anybody got the weather forecast for next
It's
week? On
Hoth.
Hoth?
It's
It's
Ah.
cold.
Dang it! All right, well, Clone Wars episode 12,
Yeah.
Victory and Justice.
If you guys
What
are
was
still
it?
out there,
Victory and
send
death.
us a
Right.
thumbs up
Thumbs up.
or a hello
Give us a
there,
high five.
or
a
say
thumb
General
five.
Kenobi.
And you podcast
General
listeners will
Kenobi.
probably edit this down so it's not so long-winded.
You won't hear any of it.
Right.
All of our podcasts are 1 minute.
Also,
It's
you
just
can't
gonna-
see us.
It's just only going to be Dan talking.
Right.
Like, hey, guys.
It's literally all Dan's parts. It's a 30-second.
No, it's going to be
30-second podcast.
It's going to be complete silence with a little bit of faint background of the fact checker saying things.
Right. Yeah. All you hear is
Audio's
like
muted. Oh my
That's not how the fact checker talks, but that would be how
That's
it
how
comes
that's,
through.
that's how it would come through.
whenever
Oh,
we
yeah.
whenever we give him a mic. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's
how
gonna
I-
be it's gonna be brilliant.
That's how we're going to modulate the
Modulated
voice.
in the shadows.
It's
We
just gonna be another
you just
language.
insulted all the Japanese
Yeah.
people.
I wasn't doing Japanese. No, I was thinking like some sort of Star Wars language.
Yeah.
You know, you make them speak like Ithorian.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jawiz.
Jawiz.
You sound like a
Well,
Wookiee.
You sound like a Wookiee.
Well, speaking of victory and
Yeah,
death,
sorry.
Yeah,
we got
Victory and Death.
on target.
Woo.
it's a good day to be a Star Wars fan. It's a good week to be a Star
day to
Wars
die.
fan.
It's one of
and
the best
Live.
weeks.
you know, there was so much glorious goodness and
Glorious goodness.
between Ahsoka and Rex. Again, we got the
Glorious
spoiler
goodness.
alert right here on top of Dustin's green shirt. I can't
Hello.
figure out how to move it. It's driving me crazy. man.
How long have we been doing this?
I have no idea. I know how to move
Wow.
it. I know how to move it.
Wow.
It just isn't behaving.
Oh, it's misbehaving. Spoiler, get out of there. Oh,
Thank you very much.
yes, go there.
Put on
Oh.
Nick's face. Yeah. That's what you get.
Hello.
No.
Hello there.
Hello there.
So yeah.
Can I say that in the comments? Did anyone say General Kenobi in the comments?
Kenobi.
General Kenobi.
Oh, there we go.
She's in the
There
red light, I
she
guess.
is.
And
To save the day, Ahsoka's here.
yeah. So basically,
What's to say?
it was a crazy finale, part 4. So it was a
Yeah.
4-part arc
Full part.
that ended this. It was a movie. It was
It
basically a
was.
movie
Should be a
inside of a
movie.
season.
Yeah.
And right at the beginning, the music, the overture of
Yeah. Well, and
watch it go by, Nick.
yeah.
Just the choirs, you know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
started
that-
off
the
like
music.
every beginning. I'm like, I'm not skipping the intro because I
Right,
want to hear
yeah.
and
Yeah.
watch all this.
It's-
Don't even give me
It's
the
like, why do
option.
you, yeah,
Why
do
do
you
you
give, us the
give that
though?
option in this one? Every other like streaming platform and like show, I'm like, yes, skip. If it's
Skip.
just gonna be the
Skip.
thing.
Yeah.
And this one, I'm like, stop even putting that on the screen.
skipping.
You're taking away.
Right.
I don't want to see a thing that asks me to skip. Yeah, I want
Right.
to see
Yeah.
the,
I
the
wanna
show.
see the whole
I want to see
thing.
all that blackness in the
Yeah.
bottom right corner.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It takes you out of the film.
It does.
Ah,
Anyway,
yeah, it's
I've never been so upset
Well,
about
and
the
a lot-
skip
you know,
button.
right.
Usually, I love the skip
The other
button.
thing that makes me annoyed is sometimes at the end of episodes on certain streaming platforms, it automatically wants to jump you into the next episode. And I'm like, I want to see all these credits
yeah.
Right.
because the score is good, or
Yeah.
I want to see if there's anything at the,
the
end, or
end.
whatever. They're like, no,
There
we're
wasn't-
taking you to
was
the next
there?
episode.
There was
whether you
nothing
like
at
it
the
or
end.
not.
I checked.
I was
You
kind
checked,
of bummed
okay.
about that. I kind of wanted there to be something
Like
at
a
the
little
end.
nugget.
Yeah, because it
Chicken
ends
nugget?
so like, wow, that was heavy. Like
It was heavy, yeah.
it was a
Very
heavy ending, and it was kind of abrupt in some ways.
Why are you crying?
I
so
thought it was a
much?
good way to end it because
It was a I'm not saying it was bad. I
You
really
hated it.
liked.
Yeah.
I really liked the ending. It made sense.
Yeah.
It really closed things out well, and it kind of
yeah.
lets you know what the next
Yeah.
era is. So
Era.
even the last shot when we were watching it.
Yeah, what comes next in this Clone Wars universe with all the clones?
Yeah.
Oh wait, it's that.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's the Empire.
It's that breathing dude.
It's
Yeah.
the breathing dude.
But
It's the asthmatic.
the asthmatic. Oh,
The no-limbed asthmatic person.
oh wow, we've just insulted so many people.
Oh,
We're so good at
We're
insulting.
talking about Darth
I know,
Vader,
I'm just
the
joking.
most famous villain of all time.
Yeah.
If I just said those words in public,
I thought you were gonna say something else.
Yeah.
if I walk into a street corner and say, "Hey, does anybody else know the asthmatic, no-limbed person that's the most famous?"
Oh.
They'd be like,
Just
"Darth
your luck,
Vader."
there's some guy in there that's like, yes.
Yes.
And it's
First, I
him.
would get stoned.
like,
People
oh.
would throw rocks at me, and then they'd be like, "We know you're talking about Darth Vader, but you're so insensitive." You're
Yeah,
so
just throw
insensitive."
rocks at you. Oh my goodness.
Oh, boy.
They'd
Wow.
throw their blaster bolts at me.
Blaster bolts.
Blaster bolts. Slug
Blast 'em.
Slug
Yeah, but-
throwers.
Speaking of blasters, there was a lot of blasters in this episode, and this episode was fantastic. It was on a whole nother level when it comes to action sequences.
Yeah,
It was
animation.
crazy. I was like, how in the heck? I think it showed better than any other medium I think that we've seen as to maybe Fallen Order in some ways, but
Yeah.
how dire the situation was to make it out alive
Yep.
as a Jedi
Mhm.
or Force user,
Yeah,
not
I would
even a
agree.
Jedi.
Yeah.
It was like, holy cow, the things they had to go through just to make it out, get away.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? It's like a whole army turns against you that have been by your side the whole time.
Right.
And like minutes before that, they're like,
They're
yeah,
like all
well,
buddy buddy.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
they have such respect for you, because
Right.
you respect them, and then it's like,
exactly.
we're gonna kill you,
Right. They're all traitors.
traitor.
Zach's
Yeah.
back, by the way. His Wi-Fi was having problems.
Oh snap!
Dude, same.
You having Wi-Fi
Yeah.
problems?
Yours.
No, I was having Wi-Fi
Yeah.
problems today.
Well, mine's perfect.
Oh
Yeah.
well, must
Just
be.
kidding.
I ordered a new router because I was
Oh, really?
tired of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's good at the moment. I think we had a hiccup earlier, but
Right.
in this current studio, we're usually hardwired, but
Hardwired.
we're having to
We're going
use
wireless today, baby.
wireless, so you never know what.
Hanger Hoth.
Baby.
Yeah.
Anyway, about the episode.
Yeah, about the
Yeah,
episode.
we just
I
derailed.
found, I'm just gonna
Go,
say one.
go,
thing.
man, go.
The very beginning when they're breaking through the door, and Ahsoka's like, "Set that gun to stun. I don't want to hurt. I don't want to kill any of them." And then she proceeds to throw the door at about 5 clones, and I'm just sitting there like, "Yeah, they're dead.
They're
They're
probably
completely dead."
Right. It's just like Batman doesn't kill anybody, but his punches are so strong they would.
Just punching through people. It's like I didn't kill him.
Batman
This
doesn't
is a
kill.
gun.
This is a gun. Yeah.
He went to sleep.
Part of
That
me
was
was for a split second was like she's gonna tell him to stun her or something. That's
Right.
part of me.
It's like a
was-
plan.
That's
right?
part of me was like, is that what she's
Man.
gonna? Nope. There goes the door.
Yep, there goes the
And
door.
I was like, okay,
and
I
she-
guess she just doesn't want to hurt him.
she doesn't
Yeah.
want to hurt him, but she just.
Well, she said
killed
it. She
all
says
of
the
those
line in it.
people.
Right? Is it in this one or the one before? She said it.
Hmm?
She says, "Oh no," because Rex starts talking to her. He's like, even Rex, which is harder than anything. And I
Yeah.
like that they took the time to show that in this episode
Yeah.
too. But how Rex was like, I'm sorry, but they're gonna kill you.
They don't care.
They don't care.
Yeah.
Basically saying you shouldn't care either.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what we do.
Yeah, that was
But then she said, I liked what she said about it, and it was such a Jedi thing to say.
Yeah.
Was about how, oh snap, what did she say now? But it was like she said, they may be trying to kill me, but
it was
it's I'm not going to be the one to kill them.
Yeah.
It was something
Yeah.
along those
they
lines.
may want to die, but
They may be
Because Rex
no,
was
he
like,
said
you know,
he
these
said they're
people
all
are
willing
they're all willing to die,
die
and
to
kill
kill
you.
They may
Yeah.
be willing to die, but I'm not going to be the one that kills
that
them.
kills them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was pretty.
It was such a good line.
poignant
I was like,
line,
so
yeah.
good.
She had a lot of
That was,
epic
that
lines.
was an emotional moment.
That was
Because, he has his helmet on, and
Rex.
she takes it off, and he's
Yeah.
crying.
I thought they were gonna kiss.
Yeah.
That's what I was like.
Right.
Wait, is this like
Oh,
one of
this
those
is
Ray
weird.
Kylo moments?
Come on, guys.
where
I
they're
had
like-
no.
and then
I
he
didn't
and
think
then
that at
Rex
all.
disappears.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm just
It
kidding.
didn't really make sense.
No,
when
but it
you think
was
about
emotional. Yeah, I was
but
like,
it was just the time.
He's got
I also
tears rolling down his cheek. Yeah.
yeah.
that was so
It was,
good
it was heavy.
Yeah.
in a animated show. Kids
Right.
animated show in some ways. Not that it really is
It
kids
was-
show in a lot of ways, but
it was film quality
Yeah.
from start to
It was.
finish.
and how he was so tore up over everything. I mean, can
Yep.
you imagine the emotional roller coaster that guy did just go through though?
Yeah.
He went from
Right.
leading.
Yeah.
He went from leading the clones to what they thought was nearing the end
Mhm.
of the Clone Wars, and everything's gonna be all
Well,
good, and we're all
kinda
buddies.
was.
Yeah, and then in
Yeah.
a movie, but then turning on Ahsoka, not being being controlled
Yeah.
to kill one of your best friends or people you respect the most.
Yep.
And then coming out of that, realizing that all your troops are still trying to kill now you, and
Yep.
man, that would be no wonder he cried. I mean, and he
Yeah.
was a soldier. I like that they actually showed that too. It
Yeah.
also shows that tough guys
Yeah.
can still cry.
Yep.
They have emotions too.
Yeah.
And it's
And-
okay to do it. And he was still trying to kind of hide it in some ways through his mask, but she could sense that he needed something
Yeah.
right then,
And-
and she took off his helmet, and I was kind of like, where are they going with this?
Yeah.
But it was a fantastic scene.
Inside of an
fantastic moment.
insanely action-packed episode,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
were some really good, subtle, like powerful. Like you didn't, you couldn't look away.
No,
Like you got to watch every second of this.
You did. I did not look away the whole time. I was
Yeah.
like, holy
I was
cow!
like,
what?
wow, what's going
blink
on?
and you miss.
Yeah, but on a
The suspense too. Yeah,
on a
Yeah.
a segue, I want to see that.
you're on a
And-
segue.
You want to see
Why?
them on a Segway?
Yes, I want to see that in a live action show
Yes.
about
Yeah.
stormtroopers.
Oh yeah.
You know,
That's
you
the
start
one.
you start with like Band of Brothers. I always say that.
Yeah, I know.
You start with them at like basic training, and then by the end of it, they're all just tore up inside. And
Yeah. Oof.
start showing human elements
Yep.
and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
That would make a great show.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
That
Yeah.
would be amazing.
And in some ways, this Clone Wars, in some ways, is kind of like Band of Brothers.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
weird when you think about that. I never really thought about that
Right.
before, but it'd be cool to see live action.
Yeah,
We said that so many times.
Yeah, and
just
Zach
all the
said we
emotional weight.
Yeah.
we still don't know how Rex meets Wolf and Gregor. Yep.
Yeah.
Disney's
Yep.
saving that for a comic or something. So we're spoiling it because they don't, the ending of Rex's time was him walking away with Ahsoka, right? It's
Yep.
just at the end there. They walked
Flying away, I think,
Flying away.
Well, they
on that planet.
they have that. They
But
don't.
Maul had the same thing. He just flies away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because we already know he's still
Where-
around.
Well, we know
Yeah.
Rex and Ahsoka
Yeah.
and Maul make it out. So we knew they were going to live through it, but it was just like, what hardships are they going to have to go through? And
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about that during the show, though. Honestly, I was still
might end
captivated
badly.
the
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, what's going to happen to him? I
Right.
mean, I will touch upon this point, and with something we brought up many times before, but about Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Is we always say nobody ever gets hit. None of the good guys ever get
Yes.
hit by any blaster bolts or anything like that. And I love the fact that both Rex, he gets hit in the shoulder armor,
Right.
and Ahsoka get hit in this one.
Yeah.
I love that.
If enough clones are shooting at something, eventually somebody gets hit.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
yeah. yeah.
Yeah.
They have
And,
such poor
The
aim.
clones seem like they have better
They do have
aim
better
than
aim, yeah.
stormtroopers.
Right. Yeah. And our poor R7. Is that who it was?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
He.
And cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap,
Just
R7.
Don't
Yeah.
like
Oh,
Jedi.
yeah, and
The other one,
DD
yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, rest in
or
peace.
GG.
Is that the other
Was it GG?
droid?
Yeah.
I don't remember the other one's
Yeah.
name. I remember
that was dark.
I know,
that
dude,
whole
I
thing. I
was
was like,
why?
yeah, why and all that. I'm like, there's enough heavy stuff going
That
on.
was
in
kind
this
of one of the
episode.
most emotional
Why did they
scenes
do that?
of this episode was
Yeah.
whenever they killed the droids off.
I'm
And I
thinking
was
of like little kids,
no!
little kids
Yeah.
watching this.
Yeah,
It's
they're
pretty
just,
intense.
like,
But then they're like,
Trauma,
like
traumatized.
droids are like kids' favorite parts. I'm
Yeah.
like thinking about
Mhm.
showing a kid. I'm like, look away.
Yeah.
think-
Don't watch this.
I think the reason they did it though in a lot of ways was
Dirty
they needed
droids.
some
Tying up loose
emotional
ends.
weight.
Yeah.
To this.
They couldn't
episode.
kill anybody else.
They couldn't kill anybody else.
Yeah.
So they had to kill some people that really helped them throughout the Clone Wars and especially this arc because I mean
Right.
really without them Ahsoka would have been dead.
Yeah.
You know, and wouldn't have been able to save Rex.
Well, maybe she was able to go back in there and pick them up.
Piece them
or-
back together.
Piece
you
it back
know.
together, I guess.
Wait,
yeah,
yeah, it's-
possibly.
How many
think-
times did R2 get blown
Right,
apart?
right,
That's
yeah,
true.
that's true.
C-3PO and-
too. Yeah,
Was he
that's
in
true.
the
It
end
could save
shot?
them.
Was R7 in the end shot when they're down on that planet?
I don't think
Because
so.
I remember seeing
Was there a
a
droid?
droid.
Oh man, we're gonna have to look at
Yeah.
that.
Snap Wexley.
Yeah.
Snapback.
It was
Remake.
said, yeah, we still don't.
Problem is, how would he do it? Because he's already done Rebels, which is
Yeah.
in the.
It's got to be between Rebels and Clone Wars.
I think we've
which
done
isn't
enough.
much. There's not much time between
yeah.
Clone Wars and Rebels.
I think
mean,
we've
there
done
is,
enough
but
in the Empire stage right now. I think what they really should be focusing on more is ancient stuff, like something
Yeah.
totally new,
Yeah. The
old
Sith,
old
the
Republic, or
Jedi,
way in the
and
future.
the Mandalorian
But
War.
or the Mandalorian time frame. I think
Yeah.
that's what that should be the new frontier that I think.
Yes.
I know Resistance has done that a little bit, but it's really close to the new.
Resistance?
That's the other animated one.
Yeah,
it's
but
not very good, in my opinion. I don't really like it that much.
it's
I
right
thought
up.
it-
It's right up against Force Awakens.
Force
isn't it?
Awakens.
Yeah,
Yeah, it kind of intersects with
I thought you were talking
Force
about
Awakens.
like ancient stuff.
No, sorry.
Oh.
I'm saying the other time era they should be in is between the Force
Yeah, yeah,
Awakens
okay.
and after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Where they're putting the Mandalorian. I think because there's so many years in between there. There's even
Mhm.
more years
So
in
like,
between
what,
there.
30 years?
Yeah, there's more years in between that than there was between
Clone Wars. and-
Clone Wars and the first Star Wars.
Yeah.
New Hope.
Confirmation. Rex scavenged R7 from the wreckage at the end.
Oh,
Yeah, I knew I
nice.
saw him.
Cha-ching!
knew it.
And imagine if stormtroopers could actually hit their target, Zach said. Maybe
Yeah.
the Empire would have won the war.
Yeah, no
They
kidding.
might have. But I was wondering, don't Jedi, like, can't they just, like,
Deflect.
well, like, just the
Kinda like
force.
what
It seems like
Maul
the
did.
force energy.
Yeah.
May the fourth be with you.
The fourth
They
three
use
with
their
you.
fourth energy.
Always.
And, it's like, you think
Just like
about
bend
it. A bullet,
bullets?
yeah, they just go,
Yeah.
I don't know, that's what it looks like. Because
You'd
there's
think
like,
they would do
bullets
that.
just going crazy.
Kind of like what Maul did.
That was epic.
Yeah.
I loved that.
And
That was so cool.
Yeah, I mean, she got what she wanted when she let him go for a distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he
Oh,
was
it's
just-
true. He was.
Maybe she didn't want to kill him because she didn't want to be the one to do it, but she's going to let Maul, her, like, destructo
Yeah, that's
puppy,
true.
go
She-
do
right.
it.
Yeah, she let
She's, like, released the craziest.
Release the Kraken.
the crazy uncle.
Probably after Vader, the craziest, the Sith you wouldn't want to come up against.
No, Maul is. I would avoid Maul at all costs, basically, just 'cause
Avoid them all.
avoid them all.
Avoid them all.
I mean,
Them
really,
all
a
and
Sith
them
in
all,
general.
them all.
A Sith in general, you
Yeah.
want to avoid no matter
Yeah.
what. If you're not a Sith yourself,
right.
I guess Sith don't really like Sith either. Just never a good thing. Technical difficulties.
Right.
Yeah, that was Maul. Look out!
Ah, there he is.
Watch out for the
He's
Maul.
he's tiny too.
He's Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim. No, but yeah, the Maul's arc in this one still was
Yeah.
interesting in how he got away and how Ahsoka was holding the ship back.
Yeah.
That was so cool to
Yeah,
see. I
that
was
was
like,
really
yes.
cool.
And the teamwork between Rex and Ahsoka in this episode was so cool to see.
Yeah, it was.
I don't think we hadn't really seen teamwork like that to that degree as well as these two fighting together.
Right.
They just knew each other so well. She was defense and offense, and he was all offense, taking
Yeah.
everybody out. Couldn't
Totally.
miss. It was so cool to see that.
It was. It really was.
So, if you are enjoying this episode and you're watching this, we always want to say it, and we never do. Why don't you share it? Give it a like and a comment, right?
Yeah.
Share it if you
Share
hit the
it.
share button on Facebook or
Avoid them all.
anywhere on the social media. You can share the live links, I believe, and then your friends can be watching along with you. Showing
Yes.
your excitement or all that jazz. So, of course, we enjoy having all of you here with us, and
We do. We
we
appreciate
like
you
the
all.
conversation, which is why we ended up switching to live. Because if you watch the first 8 or 9 episodes,
Yeah, we're like.
we like it, but it felt like we had to really think about everything. A lot of
Right.
well,
Yeah.
anyway, for a
I mean, we
podcast,
do,
there was
but-
plenty to talk about because it was Mandalorian. But we do like hearing your comments and thoughts, and
Yeah.
it helps the conversation
feedback.
keep going. And of course, Zach is right here with us.
Yes.
We appreciate that. So, checks in the mail. But no, I got some serious Star Killer vibes.
What?
He said, speaking of which, when Maul brought them out of hyperdrive,
Yeah.
it's probably just Sam
Oh,
Witwer.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Sam Witwer plays the
Yes.
voice of Maul.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
good.
And
And there was
it
news
all-
about him this week too. I
yeah,
wanna
it all
touch on
ties
that.
Star
together.
Killer vibes.
I was like, wait a minute, I've seen this before.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was so epic too, because
Because
Yeah.
Witwer is Star Killer.
Yeah.
Whitwer
That's
plays
crazy.
Star Killer, and
Wow.
really, it fits so well with Maul too, because Maul is kind of like Star Killer in a lot of ways. Not exactly the same, a lot different, but how powerful he is in the Force is similar.
Also,
And-
you fight Maul in The Force Unleashed,
You fight Maul in the
the
Force?
first one. Yep. Because it's proxy,
Oh
he's
yeah,
disguised
I
as
forgot
Maul.
about that. Yeah,
Wow.
That's
self-serving
great. Oh, my
prophecy.
goodness, everything.
So
It's
yeah,
all tying together.
Right.
Yeah, and
Who-
he does
who'da
such a
thought,
good
like,
job.
together.
20 years since we saw Maul. 21 years. It was 99 on the big screen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here we are watching him on the little screen.
On the little screen.
and cinematic quality do like
Yeah.
just as crazy and cool things, bringing out the
I say
hyperdrives.
more than what he
Yeah.
did. More
yeah,
than what
more-
he did in the
Yeah.
first
Oh yeah.
film.
The fights
yeah.
alone. I mean, and it's still what's his name doing this choreography for the
Yeah.
lightsaber.
Yeah.
battle. I mean, just like who'da thunk? It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Who'da thunk it?
Who'da thunk it?
So
Yeah.
cool.
Carl-
Also, that scene was intense. Where he's taking
Yeah,
down the
where he's
hyperdrive
taking
cores.
down
Oh
the
my
hy-
goodness! I was like,
gosh.
wait a second. Is he gonna like?
Right.
He's not gonna kill them all by doing that.
The
Kill
Maul.
them all.
kill them all.
Kill them all. It's simple.
That's
We kill them all.
It was just
that's the greatest fun for this
Right.
episode.
unexpected.
Oh,
And-
Kill them all.
Yeah.
But by the way, Carla Hawk has jumped in on Facebook, keeping the conversation going. My favorite villain has to be Darth Vader. He was the baddest of the bad.
Baddest of the bad.
Very
Yes,
true.
Carla, we
Yeah,
completely agree
we
with you
agree.
there. Baddest of the
Ultimate
bad.
villain.
Baddest of the bad.
And I'm sure, Carla, if you watched, you watched episode 1. So Darth Maul was pretty, with the horns and all that. We modeled our
Zabrak.
Zabrak. Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
I-
Zabrak. But
I'd say live action villain Maul was probably my favorite villain when it comes to live action. For
Yeah.
the fact that
He's got
that fight scene, watching it as a kid, was the coolest ever.
and
Well,
he has a
and that
face.
Yeah.
True.
He does have a face, yes. But also, he had a double-bladed lightsaber.
I know that was what.
That's part of
That
it.
was intense the
Was-
first time
yeah.
I saw that.
I-
I was like, I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like,
This opens up a whole new
"What?
world.
It's just weird.
A whole new.
Yes, it is.
You.
It's weird.
It's weird.
It's very weird because when you watch Maul, as I'm pointing
Weird.
to where Maul would be,
Where is he?
fight in that ship and take down the hyperdrive and all this
Yeah.
jazz.
Without a lightsaber.
What if Vader walked around the corner and they were facing each other? Like, who would win that battle? The way they built up Maul, like, I didn't realize Maul was that powerful. I mean, he got beat by Ahsoka 2 episodes ago or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Shows how powerful Ahsoka
that
is.
would be an insane battle.
I know. I kind of
'Cause
wanted to see that.
You know, he
Yeah.
doesn't have his legs aren't real either. You know, but at least he's
Yeah.
got his arms.
His legs aren't real either. You know what would have been
I
funny?
keep bringing that one up.
I'm just
It's
saying
so
they're-
true. I know.
They're all put back
Yeah.
together, and they're just insanely powerful.
Yeah.
you know.
He's like, I see you have mechanical legs. Like
Maybe
me."
the mechanical
me.
legs, like
I had them first.
maybe it makes them stronger in the Force. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because their physical body,
They
like
don't
they're
have
small.
to. They don't have to worry about limbs. My midichlorians are really concentrated
I'm
right
not
now.
going into
Yeah,
that.
it,
but
it concentrates the
Also,
midichlorians.
I thought it.
the metal,
Yeah.
it just binds it together better.
Do you remember the scene in Force Awakens where
No.
Kylo's just upset and he's just
Oh,
starts
yeah.
slashing
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
Yeah.
and those 2 stormtroopers come around and like stop and
Yeah,
then go back.
They're like, nope.
Imagine if they had like a scene like that with Darth Vader. He's Maul's bringing down the hyperdrives. Darth
He
Vader's
walks
like,
right-
Nope.
That has to
Just
be.
walks away.
maybe later.
Who
maybe
who
later."
did that one you guys were just talking about that we watched? What YouTube channel did the one
You know,
at the
it's
ending of
weird.
episode 8?
Star Wars
You
Theory.
know, it's weird. Was it
Oh,
Theory?
yeah.
Yeah, it was Star Wars
Okay.
Theory. Yeah,
He does the
some
animated
good
stuff. Yeah,
he
he's
said,
good.
I think it's called Once Upon a Theory, and
Okay.
Yeah.
the logic is
stuff.
like he
The
did
episode 7.
and yeah, he did the end of Clone Wars with episode 9 or episode 8
Episode
logic.
8 Logic. You got to
Yeah.
check it out. Yeah.
So
or yeah,
funny.
episode 8. That's what,
Yeah,
And then
it wasn't
he
the
just
only thing that was different about the whole thing
was the bird.
was the condor was flying up there, and then he just gets poop on
yeah.
his
He's like, and it's just like,
yeah,
and then it happens. It's like,
yeah, complete silence.
stops.
It's so funny.
So he actually used the actual episode clip,
No, it wasn't.
he reanimated it.
reanimated
here,
it, Yeah,
It was hilarious.
or his staff
He just
yeah,
like-
whoever
reanimated
he
it.
had do it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Zach said, I totally agree with what Sam said about Last Jedi.
Yes, I
was
wanted to touch
watching his
upon
Twitch
that.
stream when he said that, by the way. Oh, cool.
Zach, you
And
beat me to the
I
punch.
watched Solo last week, and the credits say Maul is played by Ray Park and voiced by Whitwer. Yeah, in that
Yep.
film. That's pretty awesome. Which
It
it
is.
is. And it's here again in Clone Wars. They
Is it-
kind of follow the same
yeah.
premise.
Isn't that crazy how like Ray Park doesn't care if his voice is not used? He's just happy to be.
Yeah,
Maul.
Dave Prowse didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The original Vader was kind
Yeah.
of upset about it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well-
you're right.
No, Ray Parks, he didn't mind.
Yeah, he didn't
No.
mind having somebody voice over him.
No.
Yeah.
They didn't dub him in the episode 1.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
That
in
wasn't
episode
him.
1 they dubbed
Yeah,
him.
they dubbed.
Wow.
It was who was it? It was the guy
Yeah,
from. He was in Parks and Rec for an episode as the British guy, and he was also in the Star Killer. Peter Serafinowicz, I think. Is how
Yeah,
you say
spell that
Wow.
last name.
it. No,
Yeah.
I refuse.
Because it was kind of British. Wow, I never knew
Yeah.
that Darth
Yeah.
Maul was dubbed over in episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had a lot more menacing of a voice.
Yeah, isn't that
And the
crazy,
thing,
though?
yeah, Ray
Wow.
Park's voice really is. It's more of like it's a British, but it's like what's the not unrefined British, but it's not the British that.
Yeah,
It's more like the
uncultured.
the blue collar worker.
Yeah,
you know, the
it's not-
Cockney
it's not-
accent,
yeah,
or
it's
whatever
more
they call it.
Cockney
you
in a
know.
way.
I'm
Yeah.
uncultured.
Hey, governor, what you know?
Wow,
I'm not even gonna go
It's
there.
not bad
Sorry,
at
Ray.
all. It's not bad at all. We
Yeah.
love Ray Parks.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
an awesome voice.
So he is
I
British.
still think it could have
I didn't
worked.
even know he's British. So
Yeah,
could-
they're
it
both
could've
British. Yeah, I think it still could have worked, honestly, with Ray Park's voice. And he was another character in that film. He was one of the guards.
Yep.
Padme's
as
guards.
himself,
As
okay.
himself.
As
Well,
himself. Isn't that
as
crazy?
the character. Yeah,
Just
I think
minus,
everybody plays a cameo in a Star
minus
Wars
the
movie.
horns.
I want to play a cameo
Like,
in a Star Wars
It's
movie.
2 people.
Well, John Williams, he said he has the cameo in
Yeah.
Yep.
episode 9, which I got to watch.
Yeah.
Shoot. So
Wait,
Zach,
what was
what
the-
should I watch first, Zach? Episode 9 again, or should I watch the Disney gal.
The Disney
gal
gal.
gals.
All right.
Gal.
And Zach said,
Just
I
Disney
watched Star
gal.
Wars. He watched the video of Star Wars Theory. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
dude, it's so
hilarious.
funny. Yeah.
Man.
And to touch upon what he talks about with Sam Witwer, I wanted to go into this a little bit too because
And done.
and we'll see you next week. No, but
You have 5 seconds.
he was streaming live and he said to him, The Last Jedi felt like
This is interesting.
The Last Jedi felt like it was directed by somebody who didn't do their homework,
Yeah.
like didn't do their research.
Dude, that was me on every school project.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And look at you now.
Look at me
You're
now.
doing just fine. You made it
Yeah.
all the way
You
to
made
the
it.
big budget, stay on target.
Yeah.
No, but
Checks
Quarter
in the
of a
mail.
million.
Checks in the mail.
Jackson,
Checks in the mail. I don't know whose
when
mailbox,
did we
but it's in
get
there.
these checks? No.
What bombshell?
No, but it was so true though, because he was like, one of the things he said too was to reinvent Star Wars, you have to know Star Wars, and
Yeah.
it seemed like he didn't know Star Wars. It was he was kind of throwing some shade, honestly, but he turned it though and said, look, I think he said too that he thinks that as a standalone film, it
Yeah.
works okay,
Brilliant.
but he did not
Brilliant.
like Sam Witwer did not like how
what he did to Luke.
He
Yeah.
said that that was not convincing at all.
Nope.
It just didn't make any sense. It contradicted itself within the movie. So,
Yep.
but and I can understand. But he's like, you know what? But if it introduced you to Star Wars, or if you got meaning from it, and
Yeah.
in Star Wars, he's like, props to you. He's like, I'm not gonna take that away from you at all. He's like, I love that happened for you. So, he turned around and he wasn't all negative about it, but it was the perfect point, I think, to make.
Yeah.
It did feel that way because it didn't seem like they really knew the greater picture, the
Yeah.
lore of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to make a really good, fantastic film. And he even said that. Sam Witwer said, some of his other movies are he's a very talented guy, is what he said. He said Rian Johnson's very talented. It just didn't seem like he had done all the research necessary for this film.
Yeah.
You
It was
know.
on his own Twitch stream.
It was on his Twitch stream, which
Twitch.
it really did kind of ignite the Star Wars
universe.
in some ways, because a lot of people were like, people who really like Last Jedi, are like, well, I can't believe you'd say something bad about it, but a lot of people are like, yeah, that's a good point. If you're gonna listen
But
to anybody
nobody's done research and knows their Star Wars better than him.
Sam Witwer,
Yeah.
because I mean, other than like Dave Filoni, I'd say
Right.
Dave Filoni, Sam Witwer are on a level of their own, and then it's
Yeah.
George Lucas.
Yep.
I think those.
I think Sam Witwer knows more than George.
No.
Oh, gosh.
I don't. Well, depending on
just
what it
saying.
is, maybe.
Maybe.
Well,
For how
George
much
Lucas,
detail.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
But I
Sam
love
Witwer-
listening to Sam Witwer. Sam Witwer
Yeah.
has some fantastic points about Star Wars, but he also goes into the deeper meaning of Star Wars with a lot of things and how he just explains it in a way that I could never explain it. He's so good. If you get a chance to hear him talk about Star Wars, because he also
Anything,
knows film so well and he knows storytelling so well and the
Well,
deeper meanings behind things.
Maybe if
He
we
just
think
explains
about
so
it, we
well.
can bring in a clip of that next week.
Yeah, if
and
we can.
play that over the air, the audio. That'd be interesting to,
That would be.
to hear and analyze.
Because I've heard him on some other shows when he talks about Star Wars, you're like, this is a whole nother level. You're just like,
Yeah.
holy cow. And also, whenever he started doing the Clone Wars as Maul, he actually one-upped
Yep.
Dave Filoni. They
Yep.
talk about it. And
Mm.
it was Ahsoka, or not Ahsoka, Ashley Eckstein, who plays Ahsoka,
Yeah.
was talking about how she was in the room, and
Where is this?
it was whenever they were recording the
But he says this on his Twitch, or he says
no,
this
no,
on
no,
another
no,
interview?
no. Sorry, this is different. This is another time.
Okay.
Ashley Eckstein is explaining this.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That she had never seen anyone one up, or at least not one up, I guess I should say, correct
Yeah,
Dave Filoni.
correct.
Dave Filoni. And there
Whoa.
was a sequence, or there was a part in the Clone Wars. I think it was Clone Wars, where they were talking about something, and then Sam Witwer says, "Well, that doesn't make any sense because the time era that would conflict with the time era." And Dave Filoni's like, "Oh yeah, you're right." Like, for that to happen, it was like they both
Whoa.
got super mutual respect at that point.
Yeah.
It was like
Dave
okay,
Filoni's
you're in the
like,
club now.
Oh,
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
as
You know
much
what
as
you're
me.
talking about.
Also, Sam Witwer has done some fan. I think he was only defeated once in Star Wars trivia contest.
Yeah.
But that was because he had been on like a plane. It was like a whole bunch of
He
circumstances
hadn't slept
leading
in
up.
4 weeks.
Yeah, that was it. But he did this one Star Wars trivia contest,
Mhm.
and it was a Iron Man match where it was just question after question after question after question. with like no brakes.
And he knew it all.
And he won it, and it came down to like the wire, and he barely won out.
Wow.
And it was crazy. I was just like, this guy knows so much about Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's nuts. And he could just
Well,
pull
to
all
be able
the
to
information.
retain it like that and just
Yeah.
whip it out and just be like, I know all this. Yeah.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think
we- you-
Pablo Hidalgo is close to that too. But you don't see much of Pablo Hidalgo or hear about.
Well,
him too
you know,
much
some
now.
people would know this stuff, but in a test mode, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they have to be in like a more relaxed state and they can
Yeah.
pull out every Star Wars fact. But when you're like the lights are on and
Yeah,
cameras are going, we
Right.
can't
Yeah.
think
Let's
of our
do
first
this.
name. What show are we on
I
again?
know we
Right,
can't even
yeah.
Stay on.
we can't even say words right.
Stay on target. Words
I'm
rights.
determined to
We can't even say word rights.
decimated.
Yeah.
Wow.
Other thoughts about the Clone Wars episode? The ending. You guys want to talk about the ending?
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about the ending.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Make my day.
No. Yeah. This how
It looked like this.
cinematic it
Clo-
was.
The,
Yeah.
The head.
Except for clone troopers.
Yeah, and the lights.
Clown.
Yeah, it really was.
Oh, really
There's
nice.
the ending. We laid
Right.
it out for you.
And the bird poop.
And the burp. No, but man, how cinematic that ending
Yeah.
the ending sequence was. Even the music, it still reminded me of Blade Runner in
Blade
so
Runner, yeah.
many
I
ways.
was
The
gonna say
music they
that.
did in some parts.
On
The
that watch.
intro music reminded me way more of Phantom Menace,
Yep.
Duel of the Fates.
Duel of the Fates.
That was so
That's
cool.
what I thought they
Oh,
were
yeah.
gonna go into.
Yeah,
but
I
they
wondered
didn't.
too. And just the amount of action getting out of that place with the hangars in the hangar was
Mhm.
nuts. Having to try and get to the ship, and then Maul steals it. What a jerk!
What a jerk
You
move,
know?
Maul.
You're pretty
Do
annoyed.
you think he was on his way to the mall?
Yeah.
Kill them
wow,
all.
we got triple
Wow.
the mall.
Kill
The
them all.
mall is at
But
the
this-
mall, killing them all.
Wow.
Cinematography, and then how they end it with Vader.
Yeah.
Vader was so. I mean, it was the perfect
Yep,
ending
yeah, it
because it
was.
really does lead you straight into what happens next. It
Yeah.
ends the Clone Wars, and that last shot, which was of Vader walking away from
Yep.
a clone trooper's broken helmet.
Yep.
I mean that right there, basically encapsulates the end of the Clone Wars and
Mhm.
even the Clone Wars in general and what it led to. You know,
Yeah.
broken troopers are dead.
Zach's
you know?
heading out. We'll see you later, Zach.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks
See
for
you later,
checking in
Zach.
today. Yeah.
Yeah, good having you here, man.
Lots
Yeah,
of Star
good.
Wars. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks
Yeah.
for being like the fourth one again.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
He's-
Host number
Come
4.
back now, you hear?
yeah. Checks in the mail.
Checks in the mail. $250,000.
Whoa. Again. Where are we getting these checks?
I don't know. What bombshell?
Pesos, right? Pesos.
Pesos.
Pesos. And now we've
That's still a lot
offended
of
other
money.
people.
No, it's
Gr-
it's a different planet. It's spelled with an A and a C. Never mind.
Pesos.
Yeah.
Pacos.
Pacos.
Buckles.
Well, also, sorry, back to the episode. I'm staying on target slightly.
All right.
Only slightly.
The Condor. That's you don't
Yeah.
really see that in Clone. Well, we did because
Right.
the Condor represents, to my knowledge, the Force sister in that arc. I forget the name of the arc now.
Yes.
Mortis.
Mortis arc. There we go.
Mortis.
I can never. That's the only stat or fact I ever know.
Yeah.
Right. It's Mortis.
It's like,
never
what's that
remember.
one
Mortis
what's that one
arc.
arc? Mortis.
But it's also representative, and
Check
it
out my hand.
and it
Yeah, right.
leads.
It's tattooed.
It's the sister, and it leads into and it's representing how they're intertwined and how she's kind of watching.
What, did
over
she go to that?
Ahsoka.
She went to that
Yeah,
planet.
Ahsoka was
and
there.
so did Anakin.
Yep.
And Vader at the end. I wonder
And
if
the
there's
Mortis-
some tie in there.
I think the Mortis arc even said to Ahsoka, if you stay on this path or you stay his apprentice, you will be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure in the Mortis arc it said that. I have
Wow.
to watch it again, and I think that's also another reason as to why she left the Jedi Order. She might have remembered that.
Right.
Wow. I don't know.
It was an
Yeah.
interesting statement when Rex tried to pull that out of his hat. She's like, I got a plan. And it's like, because it's true. Like episode earlier, he said, Sidious said to kill all Jedi and Ahsoka. They're all traitors.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then he comes out back to Jesse and he's like, well, she's not a Jedi. You know, for a minute I was like,
Yeah.
you're right. That's
Right.
going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Technically,
And
Rex
Jesse's
is
like,
still in
"No."
charge. And then he's like, I liked seeing him think.
Yeah,
think
he
it
was
through, and he's
thinking
like,
about it.
You're under arrest for treason against, the emperor
Yeah.
and blah blah blah, and that was pretty interesting. And then
That
it just
was.
went all to crap from there.
Yeah.
That I know
Really
it was
did.
just
Fell
funny
apart.
because it was almost like it was
Yeah.
like Jesse was following. You had a perfect meme for it. He was following along. And he was like, "Yeah,
Ahsoka,
that does-
Ahsoka is not a Jedi. A Jedi. Ahsoka is not a Jedi. She's a Jedi and a traitor.
yeah." It's like he just it was almost like the programming just took over. And it was it was like he was
Yeah.
coming
Well,
out of the
yeah, it's like-
programming slightly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He was like, put his guns down.
Because he was listening to Rex. Like, you're right. I take orders from you. And then
Yeah.
it was almost like, he was like, you're right, maybe. And then it was like, Order 66 was like, hey,
Yeah.
what are you doing? And it was
Yeah.
like, you're under arrest for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
He tried and
execution, right?
executed.
Yeah.
Which was,
Yeah.
it
Does
was
he
great
say-
acting
does he
under
say
the helmet.
He'll be tried.
I don't know. I don't
think
think
he just
does.
says he'll be
think-
executed.
I think it's just executed, right? Because it's to kill.
Yeah.
The order is to kill
Yeah.
all
He
Jedi
said you'll
and
be
traitors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is intense.
right.
I was like,
It is.
wow.
And then they all started shooting, and he got hit in the pauldron.
And
Yeah.
then the droids died. and
Oh man, poor
a lot of
droids.
death.
A
A
lot
lot
of-
of death.
Well,
lot
the
of death.
episode was
Victory,
victory
and
and
death.
death.
Victory and death, which sums it up really.
Yeah.
Sums it up pretty
Really
good.
Because they survive and make it out, which is a victory, but
Yep.
everybody dies except for
Yeah.
them.
Except- and
Vader.
Maul.
And Maul,
And
yeah.
Maul.
We knew Maul had to
Them
get
all,
away.
killing them all.
I still think that was so cool whenever she was pulling. I mean, that
Yeah.
shows how powerful she was in the Force to pull a ship. I know they do it in episodes now. It seems like it's not that
Well,
big.
yeah,
of a
Rise
deal,
of
everybody
but
Skywalker.
it's still a huge
you know,
deal. I mean, to
Rey did
hold
it.
a ship back that is
well,
powering
yeah, and
up.
he just keeps
Yeah.
pushing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You don't see that many
Force
places.
was strong with this one.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, that's quite a force field of. It's like a tractor beam that they were having problems with 4 episodes ago
Yeah.
Right.
when they were trying to leave the pikes,
yeah, exactly.
the tractor beam,
The dang
or a
tractor beam.
Jedi
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, that was
Uh,
cool.
force power tractor beam.
I just never understood how they're like cemented to the ground. You think if they're
Oh,
pulling
yeah,
them back,
right.
they just fly off the ground.
Yeah.
It must be like pulling in both directions.
Well,
and then Rex is holding
yeah.
on to her. I'm like, Rex, what are you doing?
Rex
Some way.
either-
No, it
Yeah,
made
pretty
sense,
much
but
useless.
well, and then Nick was kind of commenting on they're flying in the atmosphere and jumping
gravity,
off
yeah.
of that. What's the gravity rules here again?
yeah,
But maybe
Jumps.
with force abilities, he's able to
yeah.
create thrust
Right,
off of
yeah.
something faster than the
That
Yeah,
wa-
but
yeah.
see what I'm saying is
gravitational
she jumps down. How is she coming down onto that thing?
and landing on it.
Yeah.
You mean? Yeah.
Because then she jumps off of that and just like she goes straight off.
I know.
you know.
It's almost like that object had
It-
gravity.
yeah.
Is like what
It
you're
would've
saying.
been
Oh,
like,
yeah,
she
yeah.
should have like jumped and just
Kind of kept
went
going
off,
because
yeah.
they were all falling.
Yeah.
They're all
but it was
falling
like,
at the
oh,
same rate.
gravity's engaged. Not anymore.
It's like if you were
Maybe if-
underwater and you try to propel yourself. I guess. Yeah, I don't know, but that's not a
Yeah.
good
But
example.
if that piece was acting more as like a wing in some ways, lifting up more than she was free falling, I could see how she could run on.
We're
it.
gonna go into the physics of this in the next
Yeah,
episode.
really, it's never really a great idea to start going into the physics of Star Wars, especially if the film was made by
Challenge
Ryan Johnson.
accepted. Ryan Johnson. Oh gosh,
well,
Anyway,
it was
fantastic episode. It
yeah,
was a
it was.
perfect. I think it was
It was a good ending.
probably one of the only thing I wanted again was like some hope or to see something hopeful at the end in some
Right,
way
yeah.
to lead to what could possibly come next. I wanted to know. I was
Right.
like, is there gonna be a new season of something? Give us something.
Yeah.
Show
Right.
Ahsoka after Return of the Jedi. Show Ahsoka in Rebels. I think that's the thing that
he did give you the ending.
that
yeah.
made me want that with this, because in the end of Rebels, I don't want to spoil it, but they show after even
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi, and that was so cool to see. It was like, what? It kind of just blew my mind in some ways. I was like,
Yeah.
did they just do that?
Right.
Holy crap!
that was quite an epic ending.
Yeah.
Ending episode. And for the series, it's probably in his head. And George Lucas, he's like, it all ends with Vader. It has to be,
Yeah, it really
And
does.
probably or Lucas was like, the ending shot has to be Darth Vader with like a clone, whatever. I don't know. It just has to be
Yeah.
Darth Vader
Right.
because that's the end of that era.
that is.
Now here
Yeah.
we are. We don't need clones anymore. We are the Empire. We got stormtroopers
Mhm.
and Vader.
Okay.
go
For a
do-
second there, I thought you said we don't eat clones anymore.
We don't eat no clones.
I was
Unless-
like, wait, what?
Unless
They
you're,
ate them?
not
A
Wookiees.
Wookiee.
No, well, Wookiees
A
might.
Jawa.
Jawa. That's what I'm saying. No, not Jawa's. Endor.
Ewok.
Ewok.
Yeah.
Unless you're an Ewok, then you might.
Yum yum yum.
Yum,
Yeah.
yum, yum, yum.
But it was definitely
blah,
a
blah.
12 episode. What a good season. Yeah.
Also, one other bookend for this whole
Oh, yeah.
season is
Book it.
The whole thing started off with Anakin and then getting Ahsoka as his apprentice.
Yeah.
You know, the
Sure.
very first
ep-
movie.
yeah, the movie.
And then it ends with Vader Anakin holding Ahsoka's lightsaber
Yeah.
and basically like
the wreckage of.
she'd given it up. I think was almost a sign in some ways, but it was only one.
Yeah. Why? Would
Where
she
was the
only
other
give up
one?
one? That's what I
That was
was
the only
wondering.
other thought I
I was
had
like,
too.
she has two.
Did
you
she
know
lose
that,
it
right?
during one of the fights?
No.
No, she had both.
She had both.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was just for defense.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was almost like. But in some ways, that
Does
made me.
does she have one or two in Rebels?
She has two in Rebels, but
Oh.
they're different. They're totally different lightsabers.
It was almost more like a representation then of her.
Well, and Anakin gave those to
You're
her, and it
right.
was blue.
I
And
see.
then-
she was sending a message to Vader.
Well, and that's what I was thinking. But I thought, even in Rebels, she thought that he was dead. That Anakin died.
You're right.
But in the last episode, she sensed something bad happening to Anakin, and did
yeah, but
she
maybe she
sense
doesn't.
that?
Maybe she doesn't know that he turned to Darth.
I
into
know,
Darth Vader.
But it was kind of confusing.
I
'cause
need
then it was
Filoni to explain it.
Yeah,
You're
I know.
Right, you're
'cause
right.
It's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
It was like, was it her sending a signal, or was it her completion of, I can't be a Jedi more because all the Jedi are wiped out?
right.
What did that mean? Her dropping the lightsaber. That was the one thing I didn't.
Tell us, Dave.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to know
Yeah.
in some ways.
Maybe
I don't think
they'll-
they really explained that specifically anyway. So more questions in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
than
you're right.
answers.
Answers that need questioning.
Yes. But wow, we've been talking for a long time.
It's been about
Wrong
coming up on
time.
2 hours. We're over 2 hours.
We're
Yeah.
over 2 hours.
No, I think we're coming up on 2 hours.
And done.
And
done.
bleep. Yeah. No, but that
Oh,
was quite a
I
week.
think we got
in,
another. Sorry, go ahead.
we got another comment.
Comment on YouTube, baby.
It was
YouTube
quite a
guy.
Zarhimoto. I think she lost one in the fight.
Okay, that's
so
what
that
I was
could
wondering.
be. That could be. That would make
Did she?
sense. She lost one in the fight with. She lost both of them in the fight with Maul, and they picked him up on Mandalore. But
Yeah, but no. Yeah. She had both of them
highly suspect
on the ship.
I don't
Maybe.
remember.
Oh, maybe she meant like when she was falling.
They didn't show that specifically though.
No.
So they don't
Yeah, I
show
don't
it
know.
specifically losing it.
Because she uses it to catch herself
Yeah.
and then runs up the thing and jumps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
she had
doesn't-
them both.
Yeah.
And she would have just clipped them in then.
So
I
I
don't
don't.
think she-
I
don't know
think
if-
she still has one.
Well, and it would just be the Shoto one because it was the shorter one that
Shota.
she
Shoto.
had
Yoto.
because she dropped the main one.
Yeah.
That was the larger of the two, right? Because
Yeah.
the one's bigger than the other one.
One was bigger than the other one.
I don't know, but it's a good question.
Yeah.
Thanks, Zarhimoto. Well,
Thank
We're
you.
like pondering.
I-
We're all
it's hard to
thinking,
say.
we're
We're all like,
I think
oh
so
wait,
too.
we're still alive.
Yeah, it's like
we're still alive.
4 hours later, we're
We're
still
still
here
alive.
talking. We're like
Are we going to the mall after this?
Yeah, going to the mall with
No.
Maul to kill them all.
to buy them all.
To
How
buy
about
them
that?
all.
Yeah.
To use against them all.
Oh man, that's
Wow.
crazy. That's
My name is Paul.
well
You're very small.
on
Dan.
that bombshell.
On that bombshell.
On that bombshell.
It's been a fun episode, a fun week of Star Wars. So
Yeah.
we're
Oh,
glad
yeah.
we have this chance to get together weekly and talk about it with you guys and girls and Zach and Zarhimoto and
And Zach.
Carla and all the other commenters and people that will be watching these in the future
Yeah.
and podcast listeners.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
We look much better in
Your
the podcast.
ears are your
Oh, yeah.
eyes.
Your
But-
the
For
the
this
eyes
one.
of the ears.
The eyes of the ears are upon us.
But we do our best to make it somewhat entertaining, and yeah, we love to
Yeah.
talk. Average is about 2 hours, so
Yeah, I
if you
mean,
want to
yeah.
support the show, send us an email with your bank
Yep.
account information.
Yep.
And,
And your social security number.
Wow,
Name
no,
of your
don't
firstborn.
do
Didn't
not
see
do
that
that.
coming, did you? No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. But if you've got a question for us or the show, whatever, stay on target.contact@gmail.com.
Please let us know. Please let us know.
Please let us know.
Quarter
We'll
of a
definitely
million.
incorporate that in quarter
And quarter.
that. And yep, there you go. So,
$250,000.
and yeah,
Quarter.
again, if you want to support, there's a link down there for supporting the channel and the show. So, this big budget we got going on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, $250,000.
But we
It's a
do
great
enjoy
budget.
talking about it, and who knows what the future will bring.
Yeah.
We got Disney
Hopefully more
Gallery
Star
now.
Wars,
We got
right?
Disney Gallery now. We got Disney Gallery.
Yeah. And also Disney
And
Gallery.
Disney Gallery.
Disney Gallery. And that's all we
Taika
really know.
Waititi
Yeah,
might have a
Taika.
new movie sometime if he doesn't get canceled.
Doesn't
so.
get
Right?
canceled
Doesn't get-
or leave
Taika
over
Waititi.
creative differences.
Taika
Yeah.
Waititi has been canceled.
He has just straight up been canceled. But in the meantime, check out Jojo Rabbit. It's a good movie if
Jojo.
you like World War II based movies.
And if you're not a child.
and you're not a child, because I think it's PG-13.
Yeah.
But you have to
It's
at least be
PG-13.
13
You
to
have
watch
to be
it.
13
Yes.
at least, but watch it with it.
Hey, but if
for
you like
parents.
Marvel, it's got Scarlett Johansson in it.
Whoa.
And I think they're going to be dropping.
It's PG-13.
Aren't they going to be dropping some new stuff on Disney Plus too, like some Marvel shows? Yeah, so that'll be fun to.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
WandaVision.
WandaVision.
That's why this is a show about all things and mostly Star Wars things, because we'll talk about all things.
We'll talk about anything you
We'll talk
if you
about Star
if you
Wars.
say something to us, we
Bring
will
something
comment
up.
back.
But if there's
What are
Star
your
Wars new
thoughts?
content, you guarantee we're going to be talking for 2 hours about it.
Heck yeah!
Yeah.
We will talk about them all.
Them all.
And any comments that anybody makes,
Suga!
and we will extrapolate them into 2 hours. of
Right.
content.
And we'll go.
They come out with a skin update on Fallen Order. We'll talk 2 hours.
2 hours.
And the greater
So-
impact it has on the Star Wars universe.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Uh.
So we appreciate you tuning in
Yeah.
and tuning out. So
Yeah.
Have
Because
a
you've
great-
definitely tuned out already after
So-
the first 5 minutes.
remember, there's a dark side and a light side. So
Yeah.
are you with Nick? Or are you with Dustin? Or are you
I'm on the dark
split down
side.
the middle like me? And
You're a gray Jedi.
I'm the gray Jedi, like
You're the gray
Ahsoka,
Jedi.
and maybe
Maul
Qui-Gon.
in some ways.
the Maul, and maybe the
Qui-Gon.
Apprentice of Kanan, the main
Oh.
guy in Rebels.
Yeah. Oh shoot! I just
That
lost
guy.
his name.
yeah.
The main
Ezra
guy in
Bridger.
Rebels,
Ezra,
Bridger.
yeah.
You know, he's-
Oh,
I would classify him as the maybe grayish Jedi.
he's a Jedi.
I don't know. His hair's purple.
There you
so
go. Yeah.
They're all
You
purple.
can talk to animals,
He's a purple Jedi.
just like baby Yodsters.
Yodsters.
Babs Yoder
Babs Yoder.
and Papa Pelps.
I can't wait for the second season.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be great.
gonna
I
be
hope
good.
they,
Watch the first episode. They kill off Babs Yoder.
They
You
just-
learn nothing.
They just
What if-
derail everything.
Right.
What-
They're like, nope.
What a blow it would be if they came out and said, Disney Plus is going to delay the next season of Mandalorian because
That's
they
a-
can't finish up the post.
Actually,
I thought they were already
Oh.
finished.
they finished recording it, but
But
maybe
what
all
if
the
they had to do
posts with the
reshoots?
delays. And
Yeah, but I mean,
they got time to do reshoots.
post
hey, this is a high standard.
post doesn't need to be done like
It
do-
can be done remotely.
done
do it
on a
at home.
computer,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Working from home. I'm sure that's what they've been
I'd do
doing.
it. I'd help them out if they needed to get
Post,
Yeah.
right?
Look at this
Well,
set.
Yeah, $250,000.
No, I think Dave Filoni had an interview, an interview
With a
lately,
post?
and he said yes with a post, and he
A
was
mail
talking that
post?
they were still working on.
Post.
He had been working on the Mandalorian.
Oh, good.
Where
Wait,
he's
still,
still
like-
been doing a bunch of work for Star Wars. I
Yeah,
mean,
but I
even
thought it was
through-
already done. I thought they were done shooting.
Yeah, but I mean, he's doing the
Oh, okay.
the
I see.
effects and then putting everything together.
Yeah.
There's a lot that still
I
has
have
to
a
be done.
feeling
after
that
they film.
they're gonna make it. That'll come.
Yeah.
out.
If
Everything
anybody
else
can
is
do it.
being delayed. Hey, and there's no Olympics. There's no nothing.
There's no
There's
Olympics.
nothing.
I forgot they shut that
Yeah.
down.
2021.
That's crazy, man.
Some of
That is
this is kind of crazy, but
It messes up the 4-year thing.
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
if-
what the
That's
heck?
that's just.
What are they gonna wait
only
another
other-
4?
Yeah, are they just doing
They're
it?
gonna do it
3?
next year.
The only other time
It's
it
gonna be
happened
off
was
forever.
Yeah.
the only other time it happened was Jojo Rabbit era,
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
World War
true.
II.
Yeah.
World War II. Yeah.
Actually, but they had it the first time, and then when the Nazis went way power,
Ballistic.
then they rescheduled those. I think for the
Yeah.
next year or 2 years, they might have missed it all
Dang
together.
Nazis.
Nazis.
And it was the 75th. What? Oh, you're right. Yeah, I think they haven't done as many Winter Olympics.
Sama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People from Hoth should get in on that. They'd own.
Yeah.
Hoth.
Well, and here we
The
have a
bobsled
wampa.
team from Hoth.
From
Yeah.
Hoth.
It's 4 wampas.
Watch them go.
And they've ripped each other's arms off.
And the
No, they
sled is
ripped off
made
his
out of
competitors.
tauntauns.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh no.
It's a bloodbath out there, everybody.
Wow.
Words cannot describe what
And
I'm
on that
seeing.
bombshell.
Yeah. Wampa Olympics. Wampa Olympics.
What was the
Olympics.
75th year of anniversary of, was it VE Day they call it? Just a day or two ago.
Yeah, you're right.
E-Day.
When they liberated
Yeah.
all of, the war was over and so on and so
Yep.
forth.
I think if somebody made it through this entire episode, they should get $250,000.
$250,000.
If you're still out there, let us know.
Yeah.
Hey, this is
Just
fascinating
joking.
stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
So it's
Because,
good stuff.
somebody
It's live, baby.
somebody
Somebody-
out there enjoys us
Yeah.
yammering about
Somebody's just
our
turns the
moms.
video on and just leaves it on. They
And
don't
they'll-
even listen to it.
No, I'm
Yeah.
sure
They're just like,
our
yeah, we'll
moms.
give these guys some views, even though we're not really
Yeah.
watching them.
No,
It's-
we
it's-
got a lot of viewers,
It's
Yeah.
G-rated
of
and it's
and we
mostly
delivery.
funny.
And we delivery. The mall.
The
But
mall.
on that bombshell, I think we'll definitely
Malls at the
sign out
mall.
No, let's keep
Goodbye,
going.
mall.
I want
Let's
to
just
see how
keep
long we can do
Come on.
this.
till the software breaks.
Right.
Software break.
Wow, that's gonna be a while.
Yeah, that's true.
Is
Nah,
that-
it usually glitches out around
What?
2 hours, and we're over 2 hours.
No,
so
what we
yeah.
should do is
drop 2,000 frames.
we should do a watch along of every single one of the Star Wars movies.
Oh my gosh.
Binge them all.
Binge
all
them
in
all?
one day.
Yeah, binge them all.
We should pre-record it and then like edit it down because that's a lot. Of time.
No, live stream the whole
How
thing.
about news?
That'd be awesome. Let's
Well,
do it.
we're
If you want to see us do that, donate because that's the only way we're gonna do it.
well, we're
We can raise some money, and we'll.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
well, we're stadium buddies, so we don't have to get up and pee. You know.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, we got
Oh,
a
we
comment
got a
here on
comment on
YouTube.
YouTube.
The music started playing, and it's already run through. So sorry,
Oh.
Mo came in late, but I'm definitely still here and loving it. So
Yeah,
I told you there was somebody out
but it's over.
there. So-
Well, and on that bombshell,
On that bombshell, we're done.
What is this? Does this like blind the camera when?
What
I
are
do
you
this?
doing?
No, it doesn't.
Well, you gotta face it at the camera.
Oh, you're right.
Oh!
There we go.
Blue light.
Police are here.
Woo!
Blue and red, the color of victory and death.
Victory.
All right, well, the
death.
music's going, so let's give them an outro.
Stay on target.
Stay on target.
Loosen up.
They came from behind. It does look like police lights.
It is.
To be
We're all
honest.
in trouble.
Are we supposed to be?
Get
done?
on the ground. Oh, that was another Star.
Oh God, my eyes. Blinded myself. We're still alive. Can you hear me?